Podcast. I'm your host, Furman Jackson Jr. I'm the CEO and founder of Walking This Way Impact Book Podcast. We're broadcasting again from here in the DFW. That's Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas. Hope everybody has a great, productive day. It is Tuesday. It is May 2nd. We know this is the fifth month of 2023. I hope everybody's getting things done, getting things situated, working on yourselves, improving yourselves, and most importantly, becoming a better version of yourself, as they say. This course is the month of May. Is the New Faces of Dallas series. On this series for the month of May, we are introducing extraordinary individuals who are doing amazing things here in the DFW. Men, women who turned their dreams into reality, and they're here to share their story on this amazing platform. And once again, I'm back with you along with Desiree. Desiree, how you doing this evening?
I'm wonderful. How about you?
I'm doing great. It's good to be back with you one more time here on Tuesday night. We give a big shout out to everybody who's watching us right now, whether you're on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, you name it. Also, Desiree got to give a big shout out to those who listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, you name it. So we got to give a big shout out to those who are watching us as well. Like I said, this is the New Faces of Dallas series for the whole entire month of May. We're going to showcase new faces here on the platform. Like I said, extraordinary men and women who are doing extraordinary things. So, of course, we want our guests to go ahead and introduce yourself. Go ahead, introduce yourself to the audience here for the very first time here on Walking This Way Impact What's Podcast.
Hey guys, so I'm author Angela Wynette. First, want to say thank you to Freeman and Desiree for having me on. I was very excited and elated to be able to get the invitation. So thank you guys for having me and wanting to sit down and chat with me and just kind of showcase what I do, who I'm about. So I do appreciate that. And plus, I'm from the DFW, born and raised, Arlington, Texas. So hey, that's my neighborhood. I'm with it. So I'm excited.
And we appreciate you. Matter of fact, I live here in Arlington. I've been living here going on 3 years. I love it here, the atmosphere here, the culture's here, the way people think, their mindset, how they want to make things happen. Originally, I'm from Mobile, Alabama. So it's like coming from transit from Alabama to here has been an amazing journey. I thank God for it. Just meet new people every day. And the networking here is crazy, and that's what it's all about. And like I said, tonight is about you. It's about what you're doing. It's about where you're going, where you're headed, how your story can impact someone else who may be listening tonight. We know people wants to make some out their lives. God made everybody unique. I don't believe that we should not live a defeated life. I don't believe that we should live a life that sucks, but we can live a life that's truly amazing. I remember years ago when I lived back home in Alabama, I was at this men's conference, and a young entrepreneur said something. He said, we should always die empty. In other words, utilize everything that God placed in you while you're alive. So when you depart from this world and transition over, you have got everything completed and you didn't waste your talents, you did not waste your skills, but your gift made an impact here. So that's what it's all about. And of course, I am a gentleman, of course. So I know Desiree, she got some questions she want to ask you. As always, Desiree, go ahead.
Well, of course, I'm going to start it off as, with you being an author and one of our past guests, Miss Latanya Williams, Whitehead? Is that what it is?
Yeah,
So, and she just, got her whole, book signing event and stuff. And so I just want to know, tell me more about your book, because I'm like rooting on all of the girls out there that are becoming authors. And I'm kind of living vicariously through you guys, right? So I want to hear more about it.
Yes, well, author is just one of the things that I do. I'm also a life coach and a motivational speaker. So I'm on the go a lot. I do a lot. But yes, my main is my author books. I have 3 out right now, and just a sneak peek, July, we're dropping 2 more new projects. So stand by for that information. That is dropping soon. But I have 3 books out. The first book that I wrote is called My Pain Versus My Purpose. And that book is just basically a tell-all. It's a book about me, divorcing the toxic mindset that I had, divorcing, the negativity, the self-esteem issues that I dealt with, that attracted me to the broken people that I had relationship with. And so that book just basically talks about everything you can go through, from grief, losing my little brother at 20 years old, to diabetes, um, an estranged relationship with my family because of that toxic mindset that I had, a toxic marriage that I went through, self-esteem issues. And so it just talks about all those things that we just go through in life. And then I came out with the second book because after I released the first book, I got a lot of feedback, and everybody kept saying, but how did you bounce back? You would never look at you and see the things that you went through. And the book even talks about when I went through cancer and had, to go through that issue and recovery and things. And so it just deals with all these major issues. And everybody says, but you would never look at you and tell that that was your story. And so the second book was basically a map of how to overcome that. And that book is called Hurt, Healed, Happy. And so with that book, again, it just talks about a roadmap, step by step, of the different things that I took the steps to accomplish to get to the healed version of me so that I could be the best version of me. And then once I got to that place, how to be able to give back to others, because I wanted to see others be able to accomplish that same mission and goal. And then the third book is a journal. It's an inspirational 365-day journal. Another thing that everybody always talked about was, so that one was always a question too that I always got was, well, how did you make the time? Because I'm so busy. I don't have time for this. I don't have time for that. But the real thing is, if we're really honest with ourselves, we make time for what we want. We make time for what's important. And so this journal is basically a guide daily. And it starts off by saying, what is your goal today? And it makes you really dedicate and put the time in to put in the work, to focus on really investing in you. And so it starts off by saying, what is your goal for today? At the end of the day, it makes you do a recap. Did you accomplish that goal? Yes or no, and why? If that goal was something as simple as, I'm going to fold this laundry today when I get home, did you accomplish that? Yes or no, why? Did you get caught up scrolling social media? Did you get caught up watching reality TV, gossiping on the phone? Whatever the case was, what kept you from taking that time to invest in completing your goal for that day? And then at the end of the year, it makes you do a recap of all of your yeses and nos. How many do you have? Do you have more yeses than you have nos? And why? Were you the person that was holding you back from accomplishing your goals? Or was it something else that you allowed to distract you, to keep you from being your best optimum self?
Oh, see, I love that. And before I finish what I'm going to say, I just wanted to say thank you, Keisha, for watching, and good evening to you as well. Thank you for tuning in. So I'm loving the topics of all of them, right? I think it's something that we can all go through. I mean, whether your journey was the same as anybody else's, we all have a story to tell. And it's when you're brave enough to put it out there, to be vulnerable, to just be able to express yourself in a way of not feeling ashamed of the things that you've had to overcome. I applaud it 110%. Like, that's like, I'm like telling you, I'm living vicariously through you authors. Okay. And so I love that. And then, but definitely that, let's go back to the 365 journal. So for me on that, when people say I don't have time, that is so frustrating, because I'll be honest with you, we make time. I don't care if you're sitting on the toilet, you're making time scrolling through your phone, right? So can you not make time to set a goal real quick while you're sitting there? We make time to stop and gossip about something. We make time to stop and bitch and complain about something, right? But taking time and investing in yourself is so important. And what better way to do it than really an entire guidebook to self-evaluation, right? So if you're sitting there and you're writing these goals, at the end of the day, we need to be giving ourselves more of that self-love. We need to be making ourselves more of a priority. And it's something so simple. How hard is it to take, 5 minutes out of your day in the morning, 5 minutes in the evening? And, sometimes you need that little extra boost, especially if you don't have somebody there, supporting you, encouraging you, or patting you on the back for a job well done. You have yourself. You can look at this, and that's what we really need to get comfortable with. We need to get comfortable with being able to say, I'm doing this for myself. I'm not doing it for anybody else.
Right. Teaching us accountability. And that's the
Yeah.
whole purpose of this is accountability of putting it on yourself. We always say people don't know how to treat us or why do people treat us the way they do. And we don't know that we inadvertently treat people or teach them how to treat us by how we treat ourselves. So if we don't
Yes.
take ourselves seriously, how do we expect other people to invest in us and take us seriously?
Yeah, and I
And I,
totally agree with that.
yeah, me
Yeah,
too.
I totally agree with that because the Bible said, "I can't love your neighbor as you love yourself." But if you're not
Right.
loving yourself, how can you love your neighbor? And it's a reflection on if you treat your if you feel like if you treat yourself like trash, other people treat you like trash. If you treat yourself worthy enough, other people treat you worthy. So I totally agree with what you're saying. And you talking about 365 days. Dr. Miles Monroe said that every year that we should get better every year.
Yes.
It's like from December 31st to January 1st, we get so excited. We hear, it's that false confidence. It's like,
Right.
this is my year, this is my season. Then we don't break the algorithm. We really don't. We go right back to that reality. We go right back to that mindset. We go right back to keeping up with follow the trends of other people and what's the end now and all this other stuff until we truly break the algorithm of being free. Like I said, making time. You get all this time. I don't have time. Yes, you do. You make time for anything you want.
Right.
It's just up to you. So I totally agree with you saying because this kind of stuff, and Desiree could vouch for this kind of stuff we do talk about here on the podcast all the time. But I guess that's been on here.
And I think, and I want to say, what's up to Daquan, who's always definitely supporting us. If he's not on here live with us, he's definitely tuned in live. So good evening to you too, Daquan. I think another thing that is so important about that is that starting your day off with something, because to me, that's a positive thing, right? You're setting a positive goal.
Right.
And it helps you to also, feel like if I didn't accomplish anything else today, I can accomplish this one thing and I can be proud of myself. But instead of waking up and saying, oh, it's another shitty day, or like I'm dreading going to work, or oh, here I go, I got to face my traffic driving in, all the things that our mind is automatically telling us, when we first get up. Instead, you're saying, this is what I'm going to do, and this is how I'm going to accomplish it. And I think that that's so important.
Most definitely. And that's what I always tell people is you set the tone for the day. You don't let the day set the tone for you. You set the atmosphere. When you walk before you even leave the house, and that's one thing I do for myself, before my feet even touch the ground, I say my morning prayer, and then I do my morning affirmation of whatever it is that I'm seeking for that day for myself that I'm needing, whether it's today, Angela, we're not going to let anybody push us out of character, or today I'm just going to make sure I go to the gym for 30 minutes or take that walk, or today I'm going to meal prep or make sure I drink my gallon of water. It could be something small and realistic, and that's a lot of things that people get caught up on is they like to over excel themselves, and then they wonder why they're frustrated when they can't achieve those goals, and it's because you set unrealistic expectations. And when you don't achieve them, then you're upset. And it's all because you need to start a foundation, something small, just starting a routine, a habit. And then once you do that, then you can start to move to the things that you really want to achieve and really be successful at it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, because I know that it's the whole thing is really is us versus us, you versus you at all costs. It's the spirit war against the flesh war against the spirit. And one's gonna outride the other. And whatever we feed the most, that's what's gonna overtake us. Like you said, command the day, setting your day. I learned I don't like being around people who negative. I don't like being around people who complain a lot. They don't know. They always look for a negative and everything, but never look for the positive and everything. But really, staying focused. Focus on your goals. Be around people who are positive. Be around people who are achievers and overcomers, and they inspire you and they motivate you. And then when you listen to these people's stories, it speaks to your core. You know what? It made me want to step my game up even further to being around people who's goal oriented, having a vision. The Bible says, without a vision, people perish.
People perish. Yes.
And you don't understand. When they think of vision, they think about a business, they think about a ministry. But what about a vision for your life? What about a vision for your family? God made us creative beings. People don't understand that. We create. It's the mindset and renewing the
Yeah.
mind. Paul said, "Do not be conformed to this world," but we said, "Be transformed by the renewing of the mind."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
people think it's about the outer appearance. It's not about the outer, it's the inner, because the inner eventually will reflect on the outside what's going on
Right.
in our world on the inside. It's a powerful stuff we're talking about tonight.
And I think so much that people focus on, trying to be better than somebody else, trying to, outdo somebody. I mean, whether it's even, at work, let me, outperform this individual, or, can I have a nicer house than, keeping up with the Joneses, right?
Right.
Like that's how it is.
Put yourself in debt.
Instead of that, why are we not trying to say, how can I be better than I was yesterday? How can
Right.
I get more accomplished today than I did yesterday? Like, compete with yourself. You don't need to
Right.
compete with anybody else.
Right.
Your only competition is who you
It's
were
you.
the day before.
Yeah, most definitely. But that's the problem. And that's what I tell people all the time is we look at the people around us as competitors instead of cheerleaders. Everybody is not our competition. And that's why
Not everybody's your cheerleader either.
right. And that's true. And that's true. And that's why we have to learn the discernment of the difference in people, or who's supposed to be in your circle and who's just supposed to be there, in proximity. And it's all about close proximity, about who you keep around you, who's motivating you. If they are constantly withdrawing more than they're depositing, they are a liability. They're not an asset.
Amen.
And at that point, it's time for you to reevaluate the people that are around you. And that's why I tell people all the time, a lot of us, we hold ourselves back all because of how we view things. It's all about your perception. And if you view everybody as competition, you can hinder yourself from utilizing people who have been sent to help you to get to that next level, all because you can't see them as a tool. You see them as a person that's taking from you when they're actually there to add to you and help you.
You're right about that, because at the end of the day, first thing in the morning, you're gonna see yourself in the morning in the mirror. Before you go to
Right.
bed, whatever, you're gonna see yourself. So like I said, we always in competition with ourselves, not with other people. You
Right.
hear a lot of times people are my haters, my haters. You don't have haters.
Right.
The thing about it is you beating you defeating you, and getting our own way. We could be our own worst enemy at times, and we don't realize, like, we create these storms in our lives. We create these chaoses, and we want to blame other people. Or now in the time now where people want to blame everybody else. Well, it's your fault that I'm not successful.
Right.
It's your fault that I can't succeed. It's your fault I can't get ahead. But who allowed it?
Right.
We allow toxic people at times come in until we wise up and start cutting these people off.
Right.
Because it goes back to the point of, I gotta love myself. I just can't put myself I gotta protect myself at all costs. So I don't want to put myself in any hurt, harm, and danger. And I don't want nobody to interrupt your peace or
Right.
what you got going on. Especially when it comes to relationships, being equally yoked, not being unequally yoked. Being with somebody you can be compatible with. Not based stuff off feelings. Just like, if I see a lot of this happen with people too. A lot of people, they start off good, they doing good, they get with somebody, and they just disappear because they want to please the other person.
Right.
But at the same time, they're hurting themselves. But they want to make the other person happy, but they're hurting themselves, and that's not healthy. That's not good.
Right. But that's because a lot of times we don't even know what makes us happy. So we're looking for somebody else to come in and define that for us because we haven't defined it for ourselves. And that's why we find ourselves in these positions where we go through that honeymoon phase and everything is great. Oh, this person is the one, this is my husband, this is my future, this is my wife. And then after you wipe those blinders off of that fresh phase of love and you really start to tear away the layers at this person, then you start to see, okay, no, I didn't know this about you. I didn't like that about you. And it's all because we haven't taken the time to really figure out what it is that we want and who we are, to know what we want to attract and what we want in other people. And so we come in and we want these other people to define that for us. We want them to give us that, but then we don't even know what it is that we're wanting, what we're asking for. And then we get mad when our mate can't give us that and can't complete that. And that's because we don't even know what we're asking them for. We're asking them for a task that they wasn't even assigned to complete because we were supposed to complete that before they even got with us. They were just supposed to add to what we already brought to the table, not give us the whole assignment and complete it for us.
right. And you hear that all the time. And you hear these cliches that goes on. You hear all this stuff. It's like it's all these gender wars. You know, it's
Right.
like it's mostly it ain't the women. It's mostly some guys who are against women, which I don't understand. It's crazy. It's like you hear guys like an independent woman. And she's not independent. She's responsible. Before you
Right.
met her, she had her own place. She paid her own bills. She was going to work. She was in school to when she was in school, she went to school to invest in herself for a brighter future. That's a good thing. So it's not a bad thing. She's a responsible individual, which means you can
Right.
be responsible too. But it's that no accountability at all. But like you said, it starts with us. If we don't know what we want, we can't expect it in nobody else. And a lot of times we look for other people. Like hear people say, "This person complete me." You should be already completed before you meet the
Right.
individual. My better
Right.
half.
Right.
We thought that stuff was so cute until we realized it was bad information that we were receiving, but we was going along with what people were saying instead of just hold up. I am complete. I am my better half. This person compliment me, but they're not my be all to end all. If that makes
Right.
sense, I'm
Right.
not made to worship this individual like my God. This
But
is
Right.
my
but you
good.
look at it like you said, from the beginning, that's the way that we have always felt. Like, even when, remember, whenever you're younger and you're in school and you
Puppy
feel like
love.
your whole world has come to an end when that person is like, I don't want to get out of bed, I can't live anymore, what am I gonna
Right.
do? Like, nobody's ever gonna love me. That is not even love. Like, that is just a season of your life, right? But from day
Right.
one, we feel that way. We feel like that we're trained to have that codependency in the beginning,
Right.
to be able to, I guess, I don't want to say identify, but everybody, you like, oh, they're the cutest couple. Oh, that couple's the captain of the football, and the captain of the cheerleading team, right? You are identified by being this item as a couple, versus just saying, like, she is the head cheerleader, she's awesome. Even now, you notice that, like, when you go somewhere, people be like, oh, that's so and so's wife. Oh, that's so and so's husband. We're identified when we're parents. That's,
Right.
for me, that's Matthew and Aaron's mom. No, this is Desiree. This is me. I am
Right.
Desiree Bailey. I'm more than just a mom. But hearing that for 20 something years, then when my boys are gone, it's like, who the hell am I? What do I love? I've This is what I've been identified as for so long that I don't know who I am. So when people say, what do you enjoy doing? Whatever my sons enjoy doing. What
Right.
you
Right.
don't know who you are. So then you're at this whole nother stage of your life. So when you're single, your kids move out, and then it's like, okay, either get out into the dating field or bury your head in work, whatever it is. You're still trying to find yourself. For me, it's like living a whole nother life all over again. And there's times where I think I don't know what's going to make me happy, because hell, I don't even know what makes me happy. Like, some days I'm not, some days I am. And it's just a matter of, I think the good news is I think we learn to see what those red flags are.
Right.
And but it's hard whenever you see so many people that can't go to a movie by themselves, can't go eat in a restaurant by themselves. They feel like they have to have somebody else. You should be comfortable enough to do that on your own.
Right.
Right. Yeah, most definitely. I agree with you 1,000%. What you said that's right. Just going out, taking yourself out to a movie, taking yourself out to dinner, learn different things. It's like we got to break the algorithm again. It's getting in our comfort zone, learn different things, go different places, go places that we never been before.
Right.
It's like we've been programmed to think a certain way. Okay, I'm a black guy, so I'm obligated to listen to rap music. You get what I'm saying? That's how we
Right.
think. But I could be a black guy who listens to rock, pop, metal. It just breaking the algorithm. Or you may not like the baggy jeans. You may like to dress up. But we've been programmed to think a certain way because you're part of a certain race, certain culture, and we go along with that trend until we just break that mold, break that cycle of becoming who we truly are, learning who we are. 'Cause I know we're supposed to evolve, right? Some people do stop evolving, but we're supposed to evolve, which means that 12 on 1 is going to be a new individual tomorrow for some, can't say for everybody. But we constantly got to grow. We constantly got to challenge ourselves to become greater. You hear people say they're the GOAT. You hear people say, I want to be great. But, Angela, are they really putting themselves in a position to be great? What tools do they need to use? Because some people, you hear like they say, be yourself. Okay, how can I help be myself? What
Right.
tools do you implement, Angela, for people who wants to be themselves but don't know themselves? What tools would you implement? I remember, was it back in school where you had to take these different tests, like whatever your strengths were, whatever your weaknesses are, to determine what you was good at.
Right. And
Do you?
so, one thing that I always tell people is I tell them PEP. And PEP is just a phrase or, a word that I use where I say, with preparation for elevation requires participation. You have to participate in order to get to the elevation that you're trying to be in. And so, with that, you have to put in the work. It's not going to happen overnight. And the first thing you have to do is first sit down and be honest with yourself. What is it that I want out of life? What does life look like for me in not even 5 years from now, but in a month from now? In 6 months from now, in a year from now? What are my goals? Do I want to pay off my car? How can I do that? Let me sit down, look at my checks, see where I'm spending frivolous money, whether it's, going out to the bar every Thursday when I could be, taking a beverage at the house or whatever, and saving that money, whether it's eating out when I've spent $200 on groceries, but I'm too lazy to cook. You know, find those ways in your life that you are not being fully devoted to your goals, and then take the time to work on those. That's where it starts. It's being honest with yourself, pointing out the areas in your life that you are not being fully committed to you. And
It,
then
it,
when you do that, establish a plan. Really put something in motion. And that's where that journal comes into place. Put something in practice to get you where you want to be, however that is. If that's, taking the time every day, 30 minutes to research on your lunch break instead of, going and gossiping with
scrolling
coworkers
through
or whatever.
social media.
Right, right. If you're gonna scroll on Google to really look into how I can invest and get that LLC I want, or how I can draw that business plan or apply for that loan or go back to school or whatever. Utilize that time properly to really invest in yourself to get what it is that you're trying to accomplish. But you first have to be honest with yourself and tell yourself, I'm not being completely committed to me and putting in the full work that I need to be putting in.
That's it. Most like being healthy. You mentioned something about exercising, being healthy, going to the gym, just utilizing your time to make the best out of it. You hear people, I want to lose weight. Okay, you can lose weight. You got to put in work to lose weight.
Right.
Favorite our worst is dead. You want to have a great relationship, but you got to put in the work to have a great relationship. Favorite our worst is dead. It go hand in hand. Like I was reading something the other day. You can't say I want to go to the NBA, but I'm sitting around playing video games all day, not doing anything. But I want to go to the NBA, but I'm sitting here playing video games. Faith without words is dead. It go hand in hand. We can have these high expectations. Like I said, we have to put in the work with it as well. It's not going to fall out the sky. God didn't design a way where we just come out the sky. He designed the work to go get it. That's why he gave it the mindset to put it in place. And I say this all the time too, and on the show, people want the success, but they want to be comfortable at the same time.
Right.
People don't want to make those sacrifices to get what to reach those goals. And that's the problem. We want it instantly all the time.
Yes.
We want somebody else to do the work for us. We want it to come easy. Well, if you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing. That's the way that I see that.
Right. And you're going to have to sacrifice. That's the main thing is you're going and people look at it as, well, I'm losing. I can't participate. I can't go to this. I'm missing out on this. I'm doing that. But sometimes you have to sit back and take a step back in order to get forward to where you're trying to be. And it's not losing. It's just setting yourself up for success. And sometimes that means you can't attend all the Sunday fun days. You can't go to all the parties. You can't take all the trips now. That doesn't mean that's always going to be the case. But for now, for you to complete your goals, sometimes you have to make that sacrifice to get where it is that you're trying to be, so that when you do arrive, you don't have to worry about making those sacrifices anymore because you've already completed that.
People don't look at it as that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was finna say, like, look at LeBron James at his age, at 30 years old, 20 years in the league, and he's still going strong. I remember one of the guys was talking about LeBron when he was a teenager, starting out playing ball, whatever. The guy was saying at the McDonald's thing, all the guys would eat McDonald's hamburgers and stuff. He said he seen LeBron. This is LeBron in high school. He was eating fruit and drinking plenty of water to take care of his body. He was investing in himself because he was thinking long term. I don't have to go to the parties. I don't have to go hang out with my buddy. That's cool, but I'm thinking long term. And when I do get to my point, do get to my destination, then I better enjoy the fruits of my labor. So right now, I'm putting the ground where we're sacrificing temporary fun for long term success. And like you said, people don't want to hear that. Like, and then you know what? Television, social media, it try to put a mind games on you, the Jedi mind trick on you. You see, oh, they got the latest concert, there's the latest iPhone, and all this other stuff. But then you get frustrated with yourself because you didn't reach your goal. You get frustrated because instead of you putting that money towards your down payment to your house, you blew it. Now you upset with yourself. And you can't blame nobody but self.
Right. And
or
a lot
you
of our
sometimes are like, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Desiree. Go ahead.
I was going to say, or sometimes you're like me and you decide to go to the casino to get lucky and then you come out broke. Like, I'm okay calling myself out on my flaws, okay? Like, I'm real.
Right.
You know, I go in there all confident.
Right.
I go in there about, being all confident and stuff. And I'm like, yes, it's my lucky night. I can do this tonight. And then guess what? I'm like, damn it. Now look at, I'd have to come up with the money to pay my phone bill this month, But at the same time, I don't disagree with, treating yourself, rewarding yourself for hard work.
Right.
Now, blowing any bill money, and I don't really blow my bill money, but blowing bill money, that might be something different. But it's about self-love, self-care, and stop focusing on what makes everybody else happy, whether or not if I'm going to be accepted by everybody else. And unfortunately, we worry more about what everybody else thinks than what we think about ourselves. And I mean, I'm guilty of it myself. Like I know I do. I'm a people pleaser. And then at the end of the day, I'm like, gosh, being in this friendship is so exhausting, or being in this relationship is so exhausting. And then you have to stop and look and say, only you have made yourself exhausted. You have allowed it. You have put yourself out there, like more times than, like you said earlier, if you're not receiving and instead you're depositing more, you have to reevaluate that whole situation.
Right. And that's a big thing.
Do I? Go ahead, Angela. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that's a big thing that hinders a lot of us is we're so busy trying to compare ourselves to what everybody else has going on that we take our eye off of our own focus of what we should be working on. And that's why we don't achieve what we're trying to accomplish, because now we've taken the focus off of what we need to be accomplishing, because now we're trying to make sure, she did this, so now I need to try to get a new car. Or, they got, promoted at their job, so now I need to apply for this promotion when I'm not even equipped for it. I'm not even qualified for it, but because they did it, and I want to have the same accolades because I want to look good on social media, and I want to, be able to brag to my friends. And we go and we put ourselves in positions to where we're stretching ourselves now. Now we're financially strapped. Now we're not happy. Now we're stressed and dealing with all these issues because we tried to keep up with other people around us when that's not what God had for us. That wasn't our season.
You're not being true to yourself. So then you're living this facade life, instead of like, you might decide, I'm going to hang out with these people because they have this kind of a glamorous life, right? So you think, okay, I'm going to act like them. So then you start picking up on their traits and behaviors, maybe even saying some of the things that they say. And at the end of the day, you stop and have to say, but that's not even who I am. But people are so worried about fitting in. People are so worried about being liked. And I just want to like myself. I want to wake up every day, but I'm not going to lie. Damn it. I say this every time. I don't want to do the work when it comes to going to the gym to like my body. Okay. I want that to come instant gratification. I want it now. That's just the truth. And so I'm the worst at it. And let me read what Daquan says here. He says, learn to be yourself. And that's the energy that will grab the right person looking for it. I mean, that's why Daquan and Furman just love me, is because I am always myself. Look at, they're gonna take me good mood, bad mood, pretty, ugly. Like, we're just good, okay? I'm
Right.
definitely working very much on loving myself, but I'm definitely always true to myself. That's one thing I will say.
Yeah, because we all are working the making. It's all a work in the process. Cause we all work in the progress. It's not, you're not by yourself. We in this thing together. So we constantly learning more, gaining more information. In other words, we're breaking ourselves to build ourselves back up, breaking them bad habits, breaking those bad communication, whatever you want to call it. So we have to be broken down to be right back up again. I think we think about the born again experience, how Jesus said we must be born again. So we restarting all over again from a spiritual standpoint to get our lives on track, new outlook, new mindset, new goals, but really just putting the work and having fun with the process of it as well. And I'll mention that when I had you on the show, Desiree, with the team from 100 Men, I remember one of the gentlemen said something about a budget, putting the budget together. Mm-hmm. Okay, is this in our budget? Can we put it in the budget? He mentioned budget, and that's what it is. People have to put the budget. Okay, do it belong in the budget? What can we do without? What can we do with? You know, the Bible said, long we got food and clothing to be content. And I know, once again, I know we're allowing the world, because we're in the world. We're supposed to be in the world, but we're not of the world, right? So we have to break that mindset. Yeah, I'm in the world, but I'm not of the world. I don't want to go along with the world's trend. I don't want to go along with the world's attributes, because I'm just an alien passing through. So as I'm gaining that kingdom mindset, because when Jesus walked the earth, he didn't go along with the world system. He went along with God's system. He went along with everything was came to God's kingdom, not this earthly stuff that we in today.
And I think, when you go ahead. No, go ahead. You let me go first last time. You go.
No, I was just going to say that's why it matters about having good accountability partners that are not just yes men and women, those that are just going to tell you what you want to hear and, affirm you in your wrongness, and that's one thing I love about my circle is that they're great about checking me and we can check each other, but we do it in love. I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. I'm not trying to tear you down, but I actually want to see you be the best version of yourself. So let me help you do that and call you out when I know that you're not doing what you need to be doing, or if you're wrong, but I'm going to do it in love. And then I'm not going to just call you out, but now let's figure out a plan. How can you overcome that?
A true friendship will call you out on your shit, right? And a true friend will receive it without feeling, offended by it. I get it. There's a way of saying it, the tone of your voice, however you approach it obviously matters, but those are the kind of people you need to surround yourself with, obviously, are those that are gonna tell you things. It's not about saying that they're shaming you or putting you down. It's about them giving you that positive, and I look at it as positive feedback, because at the end of the day, even though you might receive it as a negative, they're saying something to you to help you to do something more positive. So, but we are so quick to get offended when somebody wants to say something. We get our feelings hurt easily, and it's, again, wanting to be pleasing the world instead of just trying to receive it of how can I receive that? What did they actually mean? We're so quick to want to respond versus to actually listen and hear what was said to us.
Right.
We're already thinking of something negative to say back. The minute we hear somebody say, "Don't get offended," we're already like, "Damn it, I'm offended." Now let me see what I'm about to say. And I don't even know what the heck you're about to say to me. But I promise we're all like, "I'm sorry, what?" Like, we're gonna, and so we don't stop and just say, "Okay, let me hear this, let me receive it, and let me see." And I'm not saying that everything that people say to you is something that might actually be accurate or true, or something that you feel, but you don't know if you don't listen.
Right.
That's why he gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. That's why the Bible tells us be quick to hear and slow to speak. We so quick to speak and slow to hear, but instead of just, we have to be quick to hear and slow to speak, because we gain more by listening. We gain more when we listen, and that's always a good thing. And I know you mentioned earlier, and you did a tell-all book. How was that experience to tell everything? Did a part of you, well, I'm gonna say, did that voice come in you and try to persuade you, don't do that. When that voice like they gonna judge you, they gonna look down on you. That's that ego be talking. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? So it's
right,
like I drive
right.
at that ego. How did you block out your ego? Because I want to do this instead of worry about what they gonna think, what people gonna say. How did you overcome that?
So for me, it was always something that I had did privately with friends, coworkers, or whatever. Everybody has always had the nickname for me, Mama Angie, because I've always just been that person that everybody gravitated to for advice, for words of wisdom, And so with this book, it was just one of those when I would tell people my story privately, they'd be like, "Oh my God, you need to share this because like this really can help somebody change." And it was one of those, yes, in the beginning, I sat on this book for years, if I'm honest, because yeah, it was telling my private business. It was putting me out there in this vulnerable position to where you're right. I was like, people can judge, they can, create their own narrative or whatever the case was. But I had to really, like you said, remove the ego and look at the whole mission behind the ministry of the message that I was trying to display. And that's where I had to
Yeah.
say, this is why this has to be out. Because it
Yeah.
wasn't about me at the end of the day. It was bigger than me. And I wanted to make a difference, and so that's why this book had to come out, because I wanted other people to see that no matter what hand you're dealt, and it may be the most ugliest hand ever, you can overcome that. You just have to have the will and the mindset and the faith enough that it is able to be received and achieved.
And that's what I guess I'm loving. Like even hearing about what your book is about. Obviously, Furman's heard me on, other podcasts where I've said, or other shows on this podcast about, one day I want to be able to put my story in a book, right? And I think that it's that we actually need. People might be like, "Oh, don't put your private business out there." But you know what? We need to be able to express that you can go through the worst of the worst, but you make the choice of who you become. We're so quick to be like, "Oh, I was brought up in the poorest of neighborhoods. Oh, I was brought up living off of commodities." I'm not even sure. Don't tell me, Angela, how old you are. Furman, I already know. Okay, some of y'all might not know what commodities are. Okay, but yes, that powdered milk days. Okay, so you might actually, you might have come from horrible things. I mean, I know Furman knows I did, and I just was so stubborn or so focused on not letting that be my identity today that I said, that might have been something I couldn't control, but I can control who I am today. I can control what people see of who I am. I can
Right.
control my behaviors. I can control on what kind of difference I want to make, what kind of mom I'm going to be. So many people are like, "Oh, but that person came from a really crappy family, so that's probably why there's that cycle of abuse." Bullshit. At the end of the day, you don't have to abuse your kids just because you were abused.
Right.
You can choose to take parenting classes. You can stop and say, "This is exactly how I was done, and I obviously didn't like it. So why am I going to treat my children like that?" You make a choice, but we
Right.
are so quick to want to make excuses for bad behavior instead of these people actually having to take accountability for it.
Yeah, my people that struggle for the lack of knowledge because they rejected it. Is that
Yeah.
they don't ever sit down and explain to them the ins and outs, the pros and cons. Like this was like who I had someone on the show. Wow, Betty was talking about that. Oh yeah, they said this one like taking out the garbage. You explain to the child what's the purpose of taking out the garbage instead of tell them, well, you just take out the garbage. You say take out the garbage, and they don't do it, then you want to beat them for it. But instead of breaking it, sitting down and say, hey, this is the reason why we have to take the garbage out. So there won't be no odor in the house, we won't get no bugs in the house, etc., etc. So we have to explain things to them, and that's what it is. A lot they just want to quit to beat them so bad, but sit down and explain to them the ins and outs, the do's and don'ts. With all thy getting, get a good
You can
understanding.
understand it. Yeah.
So it's like, oh, I see now. I get what you're saying. Instead of just want to beat them so bad, could have asked a question.
Right.
Sit
Well,
down and break
and that's
down.
where my second book came from, about educating, because it's so quick to tell people what to do, but if you don't give them the necessary tools in order to achieve that,
Yes.
then how are they going to be successful? And so that's why that second book came along as that guide, that tell all, because I wanted people to have the necessary tools. So then at this point, if you didn't succeed, It wasn't because you were not educated and knowledgeable of housing. It was because you chose, as Desiree said, not to invest in yourself to want to be successful.
Right. Asking questions. We talk about this too. How people just think that it's brown nose, and if you talking to the supervisor, oh, you brown nose, you kissing butt, whatever. Nah, what you're doing is you're gaining information to advance with it in your place of employment. Some people just so stagnant, and then they want to laugh at other people who go out, they take extra classes, they
Right.
talk to their supervisor because they invested in themselves. They know that's going to take them further in life because they don't want to be stuck in the mail room. They want to start
Right.
going to different levels. Okay, I want to start going up to the meetings with the CEO, the COO, all the president, the vice president. Investing in yourself because everything is built off relationships. It's not about what you know; it's about who you know.
Right.
And these
And for
people,
me, yeah, no, go ahead.
and I was saying nowadays, these people, if you build a rapport with these people, they would train you on the job, on job training, compared to somebody who may have the book smarts, but they see the willingness that you have that they would train you on this position. And I'm just saying, like, it's all about relationships. Open your mouth, getting out there, asking questions, and they'll see, okay, you really serious about this. I will show you the way. And a lot of times we stop, we stop our own self. We really do. And
Right.
then we want to complain about it. But these people taking advantage of the opportunities where they want to grow, they want to excel, they want their families taken care of. And I applaud them for that. For anybody who out there grinding, sacrificing, you put it in 1,000% of what you do. I give you your roses for the ladies, and for the guys like you guys got cigar. Keep doing what you're doing and don't stop for nobody. That's all I want to say.
I think for me, I try to just remind myself every day, it's me versus me. So, and it's also, I can either be the person who wants to, be better than I was yesterday. I could be the person who's going to hold me back. So and people will be like, well, me. Yeah, you're right. It is me, because if I don't make those changes, then I can only blame myself. Right. And so I can't blame my boss or a coworker if I don't get a promotion. I can't blame, not having, if my numbers weren't right, for my job. I can't blame anybody else. Like, what am I doing? Stop and ask yourself what you're doing. And, going even back to making that time, for that 365, I keep a devotional on my bed. How many times do we wake up and we all just lay there for a few minutes in the bed? We scroll through the phone to see, what happened on social media, while we were sleeping, or, we might flip on the TV and watch, a few minutes of the show before we decide to get up and get ready for our work day. Take that time, do something that's positive to invest in yourself. I keep my devotional there. Sadly, my devotional has like where it's got your daytime part of it, and then you read the nighttime to see if it, I read both of them because I'm like, I don't want to wait until the end. So I'm always like, and then I say, yes, and that's exactly what's going to happen today, Lord. Like, I'm feeling this is what's going to happen. And so,
Right.
but it's taking that few minutes to say, like, what can I do to be, a positive mind, a better mindset? How can I be a better, mentor? How can I be a better coworker? But we don't do that kind of stuff. And me being a better coworker isn't about just saying, let me please somebody else. I want to be that person, because if I can make everybody's job better, like if we're all helping each other, then that makes my job better, right? So I'm not only just investing in them, but I'm investing in myself at the same time.
Right.
And so, but instead, most people walk in and it's you're territorial, you're defensive, and then automatically your next person's reaction is, well, she's in a bad mood, or obviously, she didn't get her coffee, and then all of a sudden, guess what happens around the whole room? You go into work, and I'm telling you, you smile, you kill them with kindness, even when they're having a bad day, and the end of the day is going to come out a lot better. It really is.
Right.
But I know this, like, even with myself, I get so easily frustrated with myself if I don't accomplish things. So at the end of your book, like when you're doing it, does it give you like anything that, like, maybe even after you totaled up your tally, does it have a section in there where you can say, okay, then I obviously didn't get this stuff accomplished, so what can I do for the next 365? Does your book have
Yes.
offer that for them?
Yes. So it has on there for, what is your yearly goal? And then at the end of the year, it comes back and it asks you, did you accomplish it? Yes or no, and why? And then now what are you going to do going forward with this next reset to accomplish what you did not accomplish, now that you have basically a track and a guide to see where you lacked. So now you can go and utilize those areas of weaknesses, and it'll ask you, what areas did you grow in? What was your areas of weaknesses? It'll ask you that at the beginning of the journal. It asks you, what are those areas of weaknesses and strengths? And then it comes back at the end of the journal, at the end of the year, and it says, okay, now what's your areas of growth and weaknesses? Did you still have the same? Did you change? Did you grow in those areas where you were once weak? Or now did you add more weaknesses? It makes you really look at and evaluate yourself.
I might need you to do one. I was gonna say, I might need you to do one that's like broken down in quarters. I need to, like, did you make your goals for the quarter? Like, I might not need to wait until the full year. Okay, I'm gonna say, all right, for the first quarter of this year, let's see.
Right.
I gotta check my numbers and see if I need to be stepping up my game or if I'm right on track. Okay, so I might need you to break me down one of my quarters.
I got you covered. I got you. But that's the big thing that I always tell people is, our procrastination is our assassination to our destination. And the more we procrastinate, the more we kill the momentum to get to where it is where we're supposed to be. And so it's all about, like you said, taking that time to set the tone. If you go in and you already walk in with a bad day, you're right. You're going to counter a bad attitude because that's how you're viewing that lens, because you've already created that vision. And so it's all about creating the vision and looking through the lens that you want to see. And that's what my first book was about. Is I created all the storms in my life, and then I got mad when it rained. Well, who was the common denominator? Was me. But I blamed my ex-husband. I blamed my family. I blamed my illness. I blamed all of these things in my life. But I had to sit down and be honest with myself and say, well, what was the common denominator in all of those situations? It was Angela. And I had to figure out, what part am I playing? And it's all about taking that accountability of being honest with yourself of what part are you playing in the outcome to the situations that you're having. Like you said earlier, you allow these people to treat you that way because you tolerate it, because you accept it, because you don't correct it, you don't stop it, you don't separate yourself from it. And so when these things happen, and again, these storms are created and it starts to rain, we can't be mad at anybody but ourselves because we allowed it. We set that tone. We set that atmosphere that said, it's okay for me to behave this way because I chose these friends. I chose this mate because that's what I was attracted to. That's what I was comfortable with because I didn't want to get out of my comfort zone. So I was comfortable with mediocre. So that's what I did. Went with people who didn't challenge me. Went with people who didn't correct with me. And then when I started getting things that was not fulfilling, then I want to blame them. Oh, well, my friends ain't nothing. My man ain't nothing. My family didn't push me. That's their fault. When at the end of the day, it's you. Nobody can make you do anything you don't want to do.
It's just because it's so easy. It's so easy to blame it on everybody else. And I'm not saying that it's not, that the others might not play a part in it, right?
Most definitely.
But they definitely do. But it's a matter of, they might have played a part in it in that moment, but you play the part of whether or not if it continues or not. So you can sit there and you can, if somebody says, well, are you saying that, you chose to be in this relationship, so that's why you got abused, right? No, I'm not saying that. But now if I look back and say I chose not to leave and I got my butt beat again, that's on you, right? Because you're not taking the proper measures to say, I need to do what's best for me. And, we see so many people that are, that are in tough situations too, where they say, I've been with him and he's been abusive for years. I don't leave him because I don't know where I financially, what I'd financially be able to do, or because of, my kids. There are resources out there.
Right.
And at the end of the day, nobody should allow, not male or female, should allow themselves to be in a position where they're not being treated with the utmost respect. And part of you wanting that respect is you respecting yourself. And we sadly allow so much disrespect to continue, but at the end of the day, you're damaging your own self.
I agree with all that you're saying, because a lot of times people, they make excuses. You just hear that conversation, they make excuses on why this and why that. And I look at it, okay, it sounds like to me you enjoy being there. Because if you didn't enjoy being there, you'd have been gone a long time ago. And that's what we talk about when it comes to relationships. The Bible says do not be unequally yoked. And we talk about this, and I'm glad now that we're starting to talk more, address the elephant in the room. now. Instead of just basing on, oh, she looks good and he looks good, but we don't know anything about their character. And when soon we get into that relationship, the real them be there. The issues, the flaws, the insecurities, the habits, you name it, is there. And we don't ask questions as a lot. When we going out, if you're dating, whatever, if I take someone out, we want to talk. Let's go for a drink or let's grab some coffee, whatever. Let's talk. I'm not worried about no dinner. Eat before you meet up. Let's talk about everything. Then we give each other a choice whether we gonna pursue this relationship or not. I'm at the point in my life. I'm 41 years old. I don't want to waste time. I don't want to waste my time, and I don't want to waste nobody else's time because we let's just think about the relationships that we had in the past. They were some jacked up relationships on some of them. Just look at all that time that we wasted because we were destroyed by the lack of knowledge. We didn't ask questions.
Well, that's why I'm going to say, at least let's talk over dinner, because at least if you're going to be jacked up, at least know that I was eating at that. Look, at least know I got to eat while you were.
I was full.
Look, I'm like, well, I don't have to go home disappointed and hungry. Come on now.
Well, even before you get there, I just want to talk. I'm even before I get there, I just talk because I want to get to know. Because you love yourself enough, you want to protect yourself. That's what I'm getting at. And then that's just the starting stage. And then we see, okay, it's going somewhere. Then the dinners and all this stuff will come into play. But it's that point of getting to know each other, filling each other out, talk about stuff. We're having uncomfortable conversations where we be comfortable. The Bible said that Adam and Eve was naked and they was not ashamed.
You know what's funny is
Go ahead.
So many people, though, you notice whenever people start dating, they're like, well, this is the first date. You're already asking questions like this. People think like, oh, isn't it a little soon to be asking? You need to ask those kind of questions. I have decided officially, I have just made it clear to me, I'm no longer like, if it's going to be out into the dating field, what I've decided is I need to start interviewing the exes, right? Because I don't want to hear your side. Your side's definitely not going to be the full story side. And so I need to know exactly from like multiple exes what was the breakdown in this dissolving of the relationship, so that I actually know what I'm prepared for, right? And if all of them say the same thing, but it's opposite what you're saying, so I'm deciding I'm taking interviews with any of the females that any of the guys that I decide to date in the future. That's where I'm gonna put that focus as. And before we have to take a commercial break, because I have ADD and I'll forget what I'm gonna say, I just want to say, you telling us that you held off on your book because you were worried about, being vulnerable, putting yourself out there. I think that is like a brave thing to do. And I think that's one of the things that I have like really struggled with myself is now I'm a lot more vocal about my story, right? I've spoken about it multiple times because I've learned I don't need to be ashamed. If it's the truth, if you're telling the truth, then I don't have anything to worry about. If I was to manipulate the story, if I was to add a little bit of a dramatic flair to it, then you know what? I should rethink about what I'm going to do. But for me, if you're speaking truth, then you should be able to speak that truth, because you don't know. You might have people that are like, oh my gosh, but how do you not know if that one person picks up that book, reads it, and says, I know exactly what I need to do. Like, she's brave enough, I can be brave enough, And so I think that's why we need to be telling our stories more. And it teaches people that we all have shit going on in our lives, but you can still be successful. You can still be and successful. We talk about this all the time. Successful may not mean financially successful. Successful may be that you can wake up every day in your home in peace. You can wake up every day without having to look over your shoulder, fearing that somebody's going to get you. And so for me, that's what a successful, life is. It's not about what kind of fancy car I drive, how big of my house is. I want to know that, did I wake up today, accomplish my goals, and can I look myself in the mirror at the end of the day and say that I'm still proud of who I am?
Right.
And so that to me is success. And so I know we got to take a commercial break, Furman, but do you have it ready for us?
Yep.
All right, let's roll it then.
With today's technological advances and fast-paced life, BMS is your trusted next-generation IT solutions provider that keeps you ahead of the competition. From humble beginnings, BMS Company is now one of the fastest growing software engineering service providers, with international presence and golden reputation for excellence. The BMS Company is your one-stop global destination for web development, mobile application development, digital marketing, SEO, Facebook and Google advertising, social media management, business consulting, printing services, and many more. BMS is trusted to provide timely, cost-effective solutions. At BMS, we believe in providing guaranteed results, irrespective of a project's complexity. No stories, no excuses. And core to all of our operation is that we practice what we preach, and we deliver what we promise. We're proud of our dream team of solution-driven enthusiasts, comprising of industry experts in various fields, including blockchain, IoT, and AI. Our unique makeup and cooperate synergy enables BMS to add heart to technology while delivering our trademark exceptional results for our esteemed customers. Get free 3 months of hosting and 30 days SEO when you partner with us today. Call us now on 469-992-4567 or visit our website at thebmscompany.com.
Everybody, we are back here on Walking This Way's Impact Force podcast. I am Furman Jackson Jr. I'm the CEO, founder, and host of Walking This Way's Impact Force podcast. We're broadcasting right now here in the DFW, that's Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas, along with my lovely co-host Desiree that's with me this evening. I love being with you, of course, on the podcast. We have a great time. And also with our special guest, Angela as well. We're kicking off the whole month of May. Is the new face of Dallas, so we'll showcase extraordinary individuals as Angela herself who are doing extraordinary things here in the DFW, Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas. Great people, awesome, beautiful spirit, and that's what it's all about. So if you're listening to us, thank everybody for the comment section that's commenting. We are live on Twitter, we are live on Facebook, we are live on YouTube. So if you are watching us on YouTube, go ahead, click that notification button, like, subscribe to our channel. Our goal is to get up to 100,000 subscribers. That's the goal. So go ahead, like, subscribe, follow us on all social media platforms. You can catch me, Desiree, and the gang, Coach Shay, Ursula, Daquan, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Saturday mornings as well. We are on all social media platforms. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all podcasts social media platforms we on, so you can catch us at any time of the day. And like I said, we're having a great time. Also, check out our website at www.walkinghiswaysimpactvoice.com. We have, matter of fact, you get to know us. You can listen to past episodes. We are accepting donations, and we have an online store as well. We have women, men, babies, accessories as well. So go to the website, shop with us, support us. We're about taking this thing to the nation. That's what's all about here on Walking This Ways podcast. Also, I got a big shout out to Miss Felicia Atlas of Dallas Boss Magazine. I had got a message from this morning that I've been nominated for an award. So that's big accomplishment right there for the podcast. So eventually it'll be the award-winning Walking This Way Impact Force podcast. That's what it's going to be about. Big shout out to Desiree. We hit it off on the back end. I had it on her when she was with the 1,000 Men Enterprise, and we hit it off from there. And she glad to accept the invitation, would be hanging out with me. And I know we text all the time with each other, and I could be at work and I could hit up at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. I'm not ashamed to say it, but information. I'm always sending the information when it comes to the guests, the bios, and she glad to accept it. She might say, "Why this man always up?" But she don't. She probably think in her mind, but she glad she accepted it. So she always wants to know the information.
He is lying. He knows I am usually always awake.
And I'm just saying.
You act like I sleep all the time. You act like I sleep all the time.
But anyway, that's for another broadcast. I'm glad she's here with me. She awesome. She's very awesome and stuff like that. Appreciate her. We gotta appreciate the corn too. The corn, keep doing your thing as well. Also appreciate you. Also, let's talk about, we are in the second hour. We're talking about, some came about relationships. And we talk about this all the time on the show, Angela. Knowing the person you want to be with. I heard Dr. Miles Monroe say this, and we talked about this last week, right, Desiree? He said when a guy asks a woman to marry him, it shouldn't be say out for love. He said her response should be, where we going? I need to know the vision on paper. I'm not finna marry you and we're not going anywhere.
Right. Right.
So people don't understand that if we're gonna be together, it's a purpose while we together. We need to write the vision down, make it plain, so we know where we going. And that's what we have to get to. Instead of saying, I'm married to just be married. Is married now. But we ain't got no foundation. We just, the blind leads the blind. And it ain't going nowhere. So I'm glad now we started to address the elephant in the room now. So this kind of stuff is important. It's like you go to AA meetings. The first thing they're going to tell you, admit that you have a problem. And we never admit, Angela, that we have a problem. We always say it was my upbringing. My mama didn't love me enough. My daddy wasn't there. But we never say, I'm the problem. And like Desiree mentioned about meeting someone and learning from their exes. Because a lot of times you talk to a person, if they're going through a divorce, a bad breakup, you know what they always say? It was always the other party.
Right.
They never say what they did. It was always the other party. Don't get me wrong, you got some jacked up individuals, true enough. But everything they didn't do on their own. It's like everybody want to blame the devil for everything. And stuff. That just be yourself, and that just be self-inflicted wrong. But what you say, the devil surely is busy.
Because see, look, Angela, it maybe in his relationships, but this is what I like to say, okay? It was the ex's problem because, see, listen, they always came back. They always wanted to give it another shot. So I can't be the problem, right? It's got to be them. I mean, I don't know what Furman's talking about, but that's it. I'm not taking accountability for all that other stuff, right? So, but I think I wanted to ask you this too before the break. When you were worried about, like the what ifs, right? Of what could happen. So tell us, did those fears that you have, did any of those come to surface whenever you decided to put the book out there?
The crazy part is no. I painted this narrative of, because it wasn't about just me. It was about my ex. It was about my family. And so I was so worried about that, about, oh my gosh, I'm exposing stuff that people may not have knew about. I'm telling secrets because you know how it is. What goes on in this house stays in this house type thing, And so I was so worried about, oh, they're going to be mad at me. They're not going to like it. They're going to hate me. And even it was some stuff in there that I exposed that they didn't know about, that my family had to learn about through the book, And so it was one of those things where instead of it being this bad narrative that I thought it was going to be, it actually healed us. And our relationship is absolutely phenomenal now, and it was literally that breaking ground that needed to be done in order to bring us in the position and the place that we are now. And that's why I tell a lot of people, even you, Desiree, when you're saying, that you're nervous about it, all of that, you're right. It could be that one person that we touch, all because of what we said, but we were afraid to say it, and we didn't realize how many lives we could change. And that's why, as I said, I don't just write books, but I do motivational speaking as well. And I tour and go all around the world speaking, because some people may not read. And I know that. I understand that. And so some of them may have to hear it from you.
I love it.
Well, we talked about this on the last time too. I said my ADD does not allow me to read, right? Like I give it the best shot. I want to, I try. I'm so busy, and this is a true statement. Furman, back me up. I don't want to say I'm not, I know we just got finished saying you're not too busy, right? I am such a busy person that, if I stop in the middle of it, then it's like when I go back to read something, I'm like, what the hell was the last thing? Or what did I mention so that I got to start all back over? So I do listen to a lot of things on, podcasts instead, especially, while I'm driving and everything. But, for me, I think that's like the thing is, again, it was you versus you and that fear. Okay. So it wasn't, you were so worried about pleasing, or upsetting anybody else that it was kind of hindering you from moving forward on it. But then
Right.
look, at the end of the day, it wasn't that at all. And was that going to be the outcome for everybody? No, it won't be. I mean,
No,
I know even
no.
for myself, when I finally moved out, and I moved out at the very young age of 16, and when certain family members realized that I was like, I'm not going to go back, because I'm not going back to a home that I was being molested in. I'm not going back to a home where I was being, physically abused in, like beating wise and stuff. Everybody was like, don't open that can of worms. That's Pandora's box. Don't do that. Keep your family, information quiet. But then at the end of the day, those individuals were saying things like, oh, she's this horrible, oh, she's just a runaway, oh, she's going to
Right.
do this. Oh, and it wasn't that I needed to prove anybody wrong, because I knew my truth, right? But for so long, I had to live in fear of thinking that I was the bad person. And now not
Right.
only was I feeling that way in the home, but now they're making it exploited like that to everybody else outside. And I say to myself, and I just had this conversation with my son and his girlfriend, is I said, of all the crazy that I've been through, like, do I feel like I'm exactly where I want to be in life? No, because I don't ever want to be comfortable like that. I want to continue to feel like I need to excel. But I'm getting there. And, my son's girlfriend said, I mean, at the end of the day, like, you are damn good at what you do, who you are. You've overcome so much and not let it keep you from growing. And she's like, most people would have already crumbled by now. And I think, maybe telling that story could help encourage one other person who thinks that they're going to crumble,
Right.
decide to choose to keep fighting, right? And so I think that's why
Right.
it's important that we speak not just about the good things, speak about, those vulnerable moments. Also, let it be okay. It should be normal. It should be normalized that we can speak about things that are uncomfortable, because that is the truth of what's going on in the world. Abusive
Right.
relationships, men having to speak out about being molested. We're always so focused on, females being molested or females being physically abused in a relationship. At the end of the day, boys are being molested just as bad,
Right.
and men are being abused in their relationships too. But we feel like we can't talk about that. Men feel like they can't talk about it because it's going to make them vulnerable.
Right.
We have to understand that shit happens, but how are we going to change that?
Right.
And,
Right.
and also, because you don't want to bring nobody else in a situation they don't have no knowledge of. You may, like you mentioned, some big guys may have been molested, whatever. A lot of them, they question their sexuality, whether they straight or gay. She has to know that as well too, because a lot of guys, they'll hide that, but then they'll affect her in the long run. So this kind of stuff need to be addressed. Need to be addressed. You know what I'm saying? Like, with a woman, whether you being physically assaulted, sexually assaulted, maybe it may not been from a family member, it may have been from an ex-boyfriend or an ex-husband, because y'all may be intimate, but the person may have you in a position that was horrifying, and that spouse need to know all that stuff plays a role, because we need to know what we're getting ourselves into. And so, like,
Right.
oh, I ain't signed for all this, I didn't want to say anything, but this stuff is important. Once again, it's going back to what? Loving yourself.
Right.
I'm
And I
thinking
mean,
now, go ahead.
Well, no, I was just going to say, for me, putting the information out, I didn't realize how much it helped heal me. It helped others, but it also helped heal me, because the things that I kept inside, that I kept bottled up, that I didn't share, that I was afraid to share, that once I released that, I was able to release that hurt side of me and be able to truly heal from that and let that go. And that's a lot of our hindrances as well, is we hold a lot of things in, we keep a lot of things concealed, and that's what eats us up. That's what tears us down, stresses us out, causes us to have all these emotions and issues and mental problems, because we don't get that stuff out. We bottle it up.
Yeah.
And then when we explode, everybody's like, what's wrong with you? And it's because you've held it in for so long, you can't hold it in anymore. Now you're going crazy. And then people are looking at you like you're crazy,
I am crazy. Like, I am crazy.
Right.
I've been having to live with all of this,
Right.
Trauma for so long that if you don't speak about it, it does drive you crazy.
Right.
That's just the God's honest truth, right? I was thinking of going on something that you were saying earlier, Furman, about, you know, when people are getting married and, you know, how you should be talking about what your goals are, right? You know, so fun fact is that I've been an ordained minister, you know, since 2016. And I know this potty mouth doesn't seem like it, but yes, okay, I sin too. But at the end of the day, I'm thinking, like, if I do any marriage ceremonies, I'm gonna be like, I need you guys not to write your vows. Your vows need to be, what are your goals? What are your goals in life together? Let's discuss that, you know, instead of our vows. We can all get up there and say, you know, I'm gonna love you till death do us part, right? But what is gonna be, or for better or for worse? Let's talk about what's worse, and let's talk about what we want better. You know,
Yeah.
instead we get up there, we're like, oh, I fell in love with you because you were there for me during the hardest. You don't know hardest times. You're in the beginning of that honeymoon. You know, we need to talk about what hard times are. We need to talk about where do we want to see ourselves in 5 years? Where do we want to do? So I'm thinking maybe I need to just add that to my little list there.
And all that stuff, like like life insurance policy. You got to talk about that too. Do you have a life insurance policy? Do you have another retirement, like an RIA? All that stuff plays a role too, which I had that myself. I have a life insurance policy that I did for myself. I have another account that's similar to an RIA, another retirement, because I'm thinking long term. Not just that, it just benefit my family one day. When I do have a family, when I do have a wife, that if God forbid something happened to me, they could be financially taken care of. That's important too, because we never think about that. I'm glad Desiree brought that up. It's gonna be times. Let's say if your significant other is bedridden or they can no longer physically get around, will people be prepared for that, or you just gonna up and leave when they down and out? I need to know, will you have my back? That's what we got to talk about all this stuff. Like for her, if she become down and out, she needs to know that I'm gonna be there regardless of the fact. Not just well, you're down and out, I'm just gonna find somebody else. I heard this preacher say this guy one time. He said, Is you just gonna be with my daughter for the long haul, or you just with her until something else come along? You hear people do that too. Well, I met somebody else.
Because what we talked about before too, you know, a lot of people are always thinking that grass is going to be green. We're always looking for the better, easier thing, right? Any guy can sit there, or any girl can sit there and tell you all the things you want to hear that you feel like you're lacking in your relationship. We're communicating with too many people on the outside instead of communicating on what's in your home. You know, if you're lacking something from your partner, discuss that with your partner. And if your partner chooses not to make those changes, then and within realistic changes, okay? I don't want everybody that's listening to this think that, oh, I need to say, well, my partner needs to be making this amount of money, or I'm not talking about that. Realistic, like, you know, household changes, you know, or maybe the way they talk to you, maybe the way that they treat you, maybe helping out around the house, whatever it is that you're thinking. Of course, any girl can sit there and say, oh, I treat you like my king. You know, I'd pamper you this way. I cook meals for you every night. But are you communicating that with your current wife? Are you telling your current partner, I need this, I desire this, this is something that I want? And, you know, we're just assuming they can read our damn minds. No, nobody's a mind reader. If you're not speaking up for what your needs are, but here's the also thing, why are we not speaking up about these things in the beginning? Why are we waiting until afterwards? Why are we just so, you know, like wrapped up in, I just need to be in a relationship, I just need somebody? You don't just need somebody. You need somebody who's going to compliment you.
Yeah, compatibility. It's the fear. Desiree, the fear of this person's going to tell me no. Remember we talked about this when I was watching this show where the guy likes to cook, and the girl told
you know that he's not for you.
Well, he don't like rejection. We don't like rejection as people. We don't.
They compromise. They willing to compromise just to say they got somebody. And the girl called him out. She said, I don't like to cook and I'm not going to cook. Instead, he told her, well, don't worry about it, I can do all that. So she called him out. She said, you know what? You didn't tell me what I needed to hear. You telling me what I want to hear. In other words, if you want a woman that cooks, that's okay to have that and believe in that.
Right.
She was not the one. She's not going to do that. But like you said, they scared of rejection. Going back to loving yourself again, just because she gonna tell you no, the next person, which always gonna be that ram in the bush, is gonna tell you yes.
Right.
Well, here's the thing: if somebody's honest with you and tells you up front, I'm not a cook, and you still choose to be with them, then you
I
need
mean,
to accept that person doesn't want to cook,
Right.
right?
Right.
You knew that
Right.
from the very get-go, so don't try to change that person. And that's our problem. We think that we can accept those things that we're lacking in the very beginning, even when we're honest, because we think we can change that person later.
Right. Right.
You know what? You know what? You might. So maybe she doesn't like to cook, but then later on, you know, and you say, I'll cook. Maybe you decide to make it fun where you have date night cookie nights together. Maybe once a week, you decide, you know what, we're going to cook a meal together in the kitchen. Maybe you decide to make it romantic, fun, whatever it may be. And then all of a sudden, maybe she does choose to like cooking because she likes cooking with you. Okay. So
Right.
there can be those
Right.
kind of changes, behaviors. But if you choose to go into this relationship knowing she doesn't cook, and then all of a sudden you expect you to have a Betty homemaker cooking wife after the fact, and you're not going to do it
Right.
anymore or do things again, then you set your own self up for failure when you chose to do that.
Well, that's what too, Desiree. We'll just take it to another further. Open relationship. You got some people who believe in open relationship. They believe in all these different type of partners. Now, a person up front tell you, "Hey, I'm into open relationships," and they tell you that. Well, if you say, "Yeah, I still want to be with you," but like you say, don't get upset about it. When this person up front told you, "Hey, I'm into open relationships. I have multiple partners."
Well, and
You know
this
what
is
I'm
why
saying?
you need to be upfront and again, don't withhold stuff like that. And that's why I say we need to see people in all seasons. I need to see you when you're financially good and when you're struggling. I need to see you when you're dealing with grief and when you on cloud nine. You know, I need to see you when you got all the answers and then when you can't figure it out. How do you know how to adjust? Do you know how to maneuver and, you know, compromise in these different environments and situations in life? Or are you that person that you can't handle change? And so you fall apart, nothing makes sense, you're upset, you're angry, you lash out, you know, you can't adapt to things, you can't change. And so that's why it's very important. And that's something that I had to be honest about because I went from one end of the spectrum to the other. In my old relationship, I was afraid to speak up. I didn't have a voice. It was whatever you want to make you happy. If you were cheating, okay, I'm not going to say that bothers me because I'm in a relationship. As long as you come home to me at the end of the night, even though I know you was a Sally Sue during the day, you know, I'm going to keep my mouth closed. Then it went
But
from
you were
the other end of
sacrificing
the
your own peace.
Right. Literally, weight going up and down, hair falling out, sick, stressing, you know, all of that, all just because you wanted to have a relationship. Then I got the other end of the spectrum where it was like, okay, I found my voice. Now I'm speaking off or whatever. I don't know how to be quiet. And then it was like you said earlier, I was listening to respond and be defensive and not listening to understand and comprehend. So now it's that battlefield of learning to find that median, learning to not keep my mouth closed about something that doesn't make me happy and serve me purpose, but also learning when to speak. And sometimes you just need to be silent and pray about that because sometimes it's not the other person, it's your own insecurities that's really the problem.
Oh yeah, that's another thing too, insecurities, and that's another thing too. Eggshell, walk around with eggshells. And I believe this too, Angela and Desiree. If you with somebody, they can still have freedom to go out, have fun. You know, you got people that want to handcuff you, and you can't hang out with them. No, if they good people, if they bad people, I understand that. But if it's good people, where they say you have girls' night out. If I'm in a relationship with you, you have a girls' night out, I'm gonna tell you have a good time. Right. I'm not gonna question you who you going to hang out with. You have a girls' night out, you must be going to another man. Now that's so stupid. If you have a girls' night out, go ahead, enjoy yourself, have a good time. We don't have to be under each other like that. Because get to the point we're gonna get burnt out. Right. Like go out, go do something, go walk, do something. Still get out and enjoy your life.
If you're not apart from each other, you're not going to miss each other, right? You're not going to appreciate the time that you are together. And how else are you going to build trust? It's kind of like when we're raising our kids. You got to let your kids make mistakes so that they know how to navigate through life later. Because the reality of it is there's going to be mistakes made. The reality of it is it's how you pick yourself up and learn from that mistake. And so, but I think that's the other thing is we don't live in where we're talking about realistic relationships, right? We put everybody on this pedestal. We expect it to be perfect. No, I'm telling you right now, I do not know a relationship that is perfect. Now, you might have created this perfect relationship because you've come to a growth and understanding of accepting each other's flaws, but we all have flaws. Like, I'm dyslexic. If you tell me don't spend more than $18 and I spend $81, get over it. I'm dyslexic. So I really am dyslexic, okay? But I like to use that one as my excuse if I spend a little more money. But at the end of the day, you have to know I'm going to be moody at times. You're going to have to know that I have had so much childhood trauma that, guess what? Sometimes I have those depression days. Some days I beat myself up over things that I know I shouldn't, but this is who I am. So don't put me up here, because I promise you're going to be disappointed. Don't expect that the unexpected can't happen. You might think, oh, this is the perfect guy for me because he's so financially, established and everything's going to be great in life and I'll never have to. He could lose his job. He could be in a car wreck. His company could just go bankrupt for all you know. So how are you going to continue your relationship moving forward when that shit hits the fan, right? But we're not thinking of that. We're just thinking of, this is what I want. He's here. He's going to take care of me. And then the minute he says no, all of a sudden, guess what? You feel like, oh, my whole world's come crumbling. And, for me, you made a comment earlier about being an independent. I'm not hesitant to say I'm independent, but I still enjoy having somebody to be there if I need them, right? I'm independent in the sense that I am okay to take care of myself on my own. That is a threat to a lot of guys, right? A lot of guys think that they need somebody who needs them, but I'm independent in the sense of, if I don't have that equally yoked partner, I know I'm going to be okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because it makes sense, because them guys, some of them guys, they got insecurities. And think about, when you got a person that's responsible, it's not that much stress. Cause it's stressful just for one person carrying this person on your back. That's stressful to one individual, you're a man or a woman. But if you got that counterpartner who is responsible, you got them and met them, that takes the stress off you, period. Because I say it's responsibility, because she's just responsible. She had to work. She had to get out and make ends meet. If she had children before you met her, she had to go to work and take care of her children. That's a good woman to me. That is just that some guys, for some reason, want a dumb woman, a woman who don't know how to drive. She don't know how to do this. She don't know how to do that. They just want a dumb. I don't want no dumbfounded woman. Because if something happened to me, we gotta make sure our kingdom is going. We gotta make sure our empire is still going. If something happened to me, I know that you know how to handle everything. I know that you're gonna keep it down because you was already equipped when I met you. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be nobody who don't know what they're doing. We're gonna be out on the street, and I'm not gonna go on for that. I'm not going for that.
We see a lot of those kind of relationships, though, and I'm not saying all. I always like to make sure I put in that disclosure, guys. When I give a reference, please don't think that I'm putting everybody in one bubble wrap, but because I don't want to offend anybody, right? So, and because it's the truth. It's the truth. It's not one size fits all. But you see a lot of guys that say, "Oh, I'll take care of you. You don't need to work." Is it really because you want to take care of her and you don't want her to work, or is it more of a controlling issue, right? You want to know that she has to be dependent on you. I don't want to have to know that I don't have my own financial means to come in, that I have to ask for funds if I want to go and purchase something for myself, down to the simplest thing of, if I wanted to go get a candy bar, like if I'm not working, I've got to make sure that I'm asking you for money, or you're going to see where I'm spending money out of an account, and then you're going to be like, later on, hold it against me. Like, I work, I'm the provider, you don't make money. I don't want to be in that situation. I've been in that situation. I didn't like it. I'm not going to choose to do it again. And I think it's just a matter of, it's not that I do what? What'd you just say?
It should be 3 accounts. 3 accounts it should be one joint account. It should be 2 individual accounts. I have my own account. You have your own account, and the account that we have together. The account we have together the account that me and you have together will be towards our bills and entertainment purpose.
But if that's
individual account.
If that's the case, though,
no, listen what I'm saying. It should be.
She don't work.
It should be 3. It should be 3 accounts. It should be my account, your account separately, and it should be a joint account where we put everything together just for that purpose. Because you still have to have your own money at the end of the day. Whatever you
Right.
do with your money, that's your business. Whatever I
That's
do
your
with mine,
business. As long as the bills are
your
cut.
business.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it should be
but
3 accounts.
But Furman, why would she have an account if she's not bringing in any income, right? She won't have
First of
she
all,
won't have her own account because she don't have any funds coming in. So what, and the way the banks are doing it now, where they're charging you a freaking monthly fee to even have a banking account with them, her account going to be a negative. Or are you going to deposit that $12 every month that Bank America charges so that she can keep her account open that sits on a balance of zero because you want to control her and you have the funds? Now, come on now. See, there's going to be
no. First of all,
my account, his account, and I work.
No, first of all, don't give it a broke individual anyway. You know they not working. Why get with them for anyway? I'm not going to get with nobody who's not working.
We're talking about these men. We're talking about these men that say you don't need to work. I want to take care of you.
Okay, but then there's a choice too, Desiree, because you don't have to accept the invitation either.
Right.
No, but of course,
and
at the beginning, it always sounds so good, to know this guy is saying all this.
It does, but I would rather put you in a situation to where, and this is just me, again, disclaimer, this is just me and my mindset, but I like to give people, not even just in, intimate relationship, but even with my friends and family, I like to give people the freedom to do what they want to do so I can see what you would rather do instead of what I told you to do. That way I can know how you really view me, how you really respect me, how you really feel about me, that when you are given the free will, what do you choose to do with it? That's when I can really see how a person really feels about me and how they really respect me.
Exactly. Just like the conversation we had last week with Haisha and stuff, and the outfit that she wore, and how some guy would be offended. Me personally, I would say have a good time. I would say this, like I said, yeah, you look good in that dress and may show something, but when you get back home, we're gonna role play. I would do stuff like that instead of tearing her down and belittling her and make her feel good about herself as her man.
Right.
And I still want you to have free will, because at the end of the day, if you for me, you for me. You ain't for me, you just ain't for me. Because one, I'm not gonna look through your phone. I'm not gonna check your social media account. I'm not gonna do all that. That's just me. I love me. I want you to have free will. I want you to do your thing, because it's going to show how you really feel about me. I ain't got to say anything. It's going to show. And if not for you, a lot of stuff you ain't going to do anyway.
But there's also that sense of, I'm that kind of a person where I get torn, I think, between things of, is it worth the hassle if I know this person might act, out of character, if I used to go do this, right? So sometimes I won't do stuff because I'll be like, I don't even want to mess with the drama that could come from it. The other part of me is that defiant person who's like, I'm about to see how you're going to act. You say you're fine if I go to Vegas with the girls? Okay. Let's put that to the test. Let's see how fine you are, right? I'm going to suffer the consequences of if it goes sour, but at the end of the day, I'm going to make the best of Vegas, right? And so, but you don't know, too, until you learn to say, I'm doing this because you should trust me. You don't know how they're going to act. It's kind of like what you were saying, Angela. You want to see how they're going to be in the good and in the bad, right? So I've got to learn, to stop worrying about putting my own needs to the side because I'm worried about what you're going to do or how you might react to it, and just go for it. And if you act a fool, then you ain't for me.
Well, and that just goes back to having that conversation up front about who you're with, knowing who you're with and what you're wanting and what you're needing. Because if you're with somebody and you can't be your full self 100%, then you need to question who you're really with. Because you need to be able to be comfortable that even when you do make a mistake, you guys can grow together in that moment and not have to be tore down, belittled, be in fear that you're going to retaliate or you're going to go do something just as bad or whatever, just to be petty, tit for tat. So it really goes back to being upfront and being honest, because I'm one of those, I'm just honest. And, and my friends always laugh and I always say, girl, you never know what's going to come out of your mouth. But at least you know what to expect. You know that I'm going to be real.
Yes.
I'm going to be real. I'm going to be 100. I'm going to be respectful, but you're going to know how I feel, And so that way, when I go into anything, like I said, not even just an intimate relationship, but even with my friends and my family, any relationship, coworkers, whoever, they already know up front. Angela has already established what you see is what you get with me. So if you see a change, it's because you caused that change. It wasn't because of something that I said or did. It was because I allowed you to be who you are. And now I'm adjusting to the person that you chose to be. And that's the
Yeah,
same for
Yeah.
any relationship.
yeah, I agree with exactly what you're saying because that's what's all about upfront. It's like you don't have. If I can offer you the invitation, you don't have to accept. It's like a job. You go apply for the job, they gonna sit down. They gonna tell you the ins and outs, the do's and don'ts of that job. Now it's up to you to accept that job. Now, if you accept the job and you violate their rules, laws, whatever, what's gonna happen? You're gonna get in trouble. You're gonna say, "Well,
You
I ain't
you
signed
knew
up
you
for
knew
this."
in advance.
That's why
Right.
they let you know before you take this job. Hey, you're not gonna have weekends off. Yeah, it's a lot of overtime. They let you know up front in the beginning, and that's how we should do when it comes to a relationship. Hey, this is who I am. This is what I do. This is what I'm all about. Now, I gave you that choice. Now I leave you with a choice. Whether you want to roll with me or don't want to roll with me. Now, if you roll with me and you agree to it, then don't get upset about it because you agreed to it when I told you up front. That's why people so quick to respond so fast.
Right.
And think about what I said. You
Because
got to
we're
talk
all
about
so
everything.
impulsive. Yeah.
You got to think. We got to talk about religion. If you're into politics, if you want to talk about having children,
Right.
how we gonna have education, or we're gonna have family traditions. This kind of stuff we need to talk about because some people may not want to have children. Some
Right.
people, well, yeah, I'll still be with you, but deep down inside, you want to have children. When this person told you up front they don't want none, and you be
Right.
thinking, well, I still get with them. It may change. No, it's not gonna change. And then you
Right.
mad and upset. Now you want to file for divorce, which they could have been avoided. But I'm glad as we learn, as we grow. But this kind of stuff we need to talk about because we don't talk about this kind of stuff.
Right.
How your
I,
relationship with your family, if you have
I,
family, how your relationship with the mom and dad,
Right.
how do you respond? You get angry. I need to know all that stuff. Are you on medication? You know, are you bipolar, schizophrenic? I need to know all that stuff. I don't hear no, I just blacked out. Hell no. Go ahead.
Right.
listen, I think this will be where my full disclaimer will go, and it's documented on the air. You're gonna either get the independent me, you might get the emotional me, you might get the PTSD me, but you always gonna get the spicy me. So that's me. I'm just all the time. I'm gonna come, and I live a lot of unfilteredness in my life, kind of like you. You keep it real. Like you might not like what I say. You might not even agree with what I say. But I'm not going to sit here and be like, yes, yes, yeah.
Right.
I'm going to voice my opinion. Doesn't mean my opinion's the correct opinion,
Right.
but I'm still going to voice my opinion because that's who I am, and so at the end of the day, you can choose to either like me for who I am. You can understand that I have good days, I can have bad days, but it's how many people are expecting everything to be so perfect. And then when it's not perfect, it's like either you want to just bounce or you want to start saying, oh my gosh, he or she's crazy. They've lost their mind. They're bipolar. We're so quick to throw labels on people, right? When something goes to shit versus saying like, how can I help my partner through this? How can I help understand what triggered this? We just want to jump ship. We don't want to work
Right.
for it. We don't want to work for that
Right.
relationship
Yeah,
when
it
it gets
takes work.
bad.
It takes work. And I know you mentioned something about, you mentioned something about intimacy and stuff. That's a road too. You have to talk about sex. Some people are into toys. Some people are into kink and whips and stuff like that too. This stuff is out there. You know what I'm saying? And people need to know that. Like, hey, I'm into all type of sexual stuff. I like to do toys and all this. I'm just throwing this stuff out there. But this stuff is important because a lot of people have different fetishes as well.
Right. But it goes back to knowing you, first of all, what you like, what you desire, what you're comfortable with, what you want. And then that way, when someone does present something to you, you can have a stance on it. It's not, well, we'll see, and then you're uncomfortable. Now you're put in this position of trying to figure out, do I say something because I don't want to offend them or I don't want to take the
Right.
chance of them leaving me? So this is why it goes back to knowing you first, knowing what you like, what you desire, what you see for your future, what you see for yourself. That way, when you get with somebody, you can have a viewpoint, you can have a standpoint on what you're comfortable with. And then if you want to explore new options and get out your comfort zone because, you want to find out what your limits are and stuff, fine. But at least have a starting point. Don't go in blind. And then when this person introduces you to
Yes.
all this stuff, then you're like, overwhelmed and shocked and, ready to run because it's like, okay, God, this is too much, because you didn't even have a starting point to even know what you were comfortable with to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it can all be it can be all summed up in one word. Everything that we've talked about today: communication.
Right. Most definitely.
And I got to give credit to y'all ladies. Ladies will open up about everything. They will open up about what they went through, what they experienced. Some guys, they can't do that. They walk around with eggshells, and then for you know it, you get this woman caught up in your hang-ups and hookups and stuff like that, instead of just being honest. And once again, the rejection thing, because you afraid she gonna tell you no and turn you down, but you willing to put harm to her and harm to yourself, and that's not fair either. But women, I gotta give credit to y'all ladies. Y'all will open up about what y'all went through, what y'all experienced, and not ashamed about it. Some guys just gotta walk around with eggshells.
Well, that's because a lot of women.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, with a lot of women, I mean, of course, I think we do open up more in the communication thing of things that we've endured in life, right? We do speak up, but also you got to keep in mind, men are taught to be so strong. Men are taught not to cry.
Right.
Men are
Right.
taught to be, the solid thing. And, so if they do discuss things that might show like a dent in them, or, what people consider, then they think that they're weak. Or people actually view them as weak, versus with a woman, let's be honest. I know a lot of times when women are being honest and open about what's going on with them, dudes are like, that's a lot of baggage, man. Like, I don't know. So women are also very cautious about being open and honest about what's going on in their lives, because they don't want to seem like they're not that perfect wife for you, that they're not going to be like, we're worried that you might think we're freaking crazy. Or the worst part about it is when you trust somebody enough to open up and talk to them about it, and then they use your experiences and they throw it back in your face. Like, they use that as a weapon against you. Yeah. There is nothing that is more hurtful at all than trusting your partner enough to disclose something that is so impactful in your life that could have made or broke you, and then to have that individual throw that in your face. That is the absolute betrayal for me. Like, that hurts. You might as well, you can call me any other name you want in the book, but when you use what has happened to me that I had no control over as a weapon,
right?
I can't. That's just unforgivable behavior.
Right. That's not a man at all. That's just a male. But a man ain't gonna put himself, and he won't put you in that situation if you can find in him. And that's why I was sharing with somebody, with a guy that I know, where I said a woman wants to be free, but she don't want to be judged. Because some guys do look down on women because what they went through and stuff like that. She wants to be free, and she feels, a woman wants to feel comfortable. And I got ladies on here, and I want y'all to be straight and honest with me. If you around a certain guy, if you don't pick up any type of safety around him, I ain't just talking about he's speaking it, but y'all will pick up the energy, the vibe, right? So if you don't feel secure around this man, y'all won't stay around him long, right?
Right.
Well, no, we don't.
Being unstable.
You have to know that part of that secure thing, or safety thing, I want people to understand that there's so many parts that go to that. So, like, we need a man who makes us feel secure with ourselves, and not because we have to have his acceptance, right? But we want to know that we could be ourselves. We could be without makeup and still feel like that person is going to be stable for us. We want to know that when we're having a meltdown, that dude's not going to be like bouncing out. We want to know that if there's no makeup and we're wearing sweatpants, hair up in a messy bun, like, he's still going to accept us, that he doesn't expect us to be dressed to the T all the time. We also need that safety and security of, obviously, if we're going to be out and about and if shit's about to go down, do you have my back? Are you going to be able to protect me? Are you going to stand up? There's also got to be that safety in, if somebody's coming at me, even if it's a family member, are you going to have my back, or are you going to stand back and not defend it? What if his mom decides to start insulting something I'm doing, right? Are you going to take mama's side, or are you going to stand by my side, your wife? That's the type of security and safety that we need. I'm your partner. I'm not saying you got to be disrespectful to your mom, but you shouldn't let your mom be disrespectful to your wife either, because you're not going home to mom anymore unless you choose not to be supporting me. Then you might be going home to mom, okay? But at the end of the day, who are you laying down with at night? Me. Who are you building a future with? Me. Who do you have children with? Me. So if you can't provide me that type of security and safety, then what like that is a big you know, relationship building thing right there. That's something that we need. We need to know that when we're sick, are you going to take care of me? Or are you going to say, I hope one of your girlfriends are coming over today?
That ain't good. Because he need to be your urgent care. If you feeling sick, he need to be able to take care of you. And don't have to think about sex either. You don't feel good. So he should be okay, I'm gonna take care of you and stuff like that. And don't make it about, well, you know I did it for you, now you gotta give me some sex. Nah, just do stuff because it's the right thing to do. And don't expect nothing out of it. It's like, okay, she's not feeling good. I'm gonna be a urgent care for the day. And vice versa. And that's what it's all about. And what he say is a man has to leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife. So you have to leave family behind and cleave to your new family, which is your wife, or y'all plan on having children. That's the new family. So you know what? I got to focus on my new family with my wife and set our legacy up, set our generation up. Because I thank God for my parents, but I can't live for them. And I got to be with my wife now. So I lead them, cleave to my wife, but we're focused on our legacy, our kingdom, our empire, our own family tradition, so our name can carry on through our church. If we have daughters, their name it's just gonna be temporarily. But with the sons, that the last name can go on forever. And I'm just learning to think like that. Like Dr. Mama Rose said, we should start thinking generationally. And some people we don't. We just think for ourselves, but we're not thinking about the generation behind us. We need to get that generational mindset. Okay, I'm not gonna be here forever, so I need to prepare my children now. So when I leave this earth, they'll be well equipped to carry out the legacy. You know what I'm saying? But then also they be themselves at the same time.
Well, and that's why a lot of my work that I do, a lot of my speaking that I do around, I even go to school events and things like that, is because my mission is to break those generational cycles. And a lot of that is because we're just uneducated. So people don't know that just because my mama didn't work until they died, my grandparents worked until they died, that they didn't set themselves up for a future. They didn't leave an inheritance and this and that, or we always had to do GoFundMes for everybody that died in the family. It's because we weren't educated to know that that's not always the way that things have to go. Just because that's what you've been exposed to, that's what you've seen, does not mean that that's the norm, that that's how life is supposed to be. So we have to take it upon ourselves to start with ourselves by breaking those generational curses within ourselves that we were exposed to growing up. And then, when you do have a family, have that spouse, now y'all have to work together to break those, jokes and stuff that you had that, okay, my mama's relationship was like this with her husband, my grandma's relationship was like this, so now my daddy didn't show me how to be a man, so I don't really know how to be a husband. Well, now it's time to educate ourselves. It's time to stop the excuses, because now we're having kids. These kids are having kids, and we're just continuing to pass this down, and we wonder why things are continuing to get worse, because nobody's educating anybody. Nobody's trying to change anything.
And that's why it's so important to talk about those experiences that got you on that journey to where you're at, so that your partner knows what you went through. One, it's important to know what somebody went through, so that, because at the end of the day, it could still be a trigger. It could still be, an emotional thing for them, right? So how are we going to handle it when it does? Okay. But two is, because you want to say, like, if he says, I was raised without a father, and she says I was raised in an abusive home, when you're talking about those things together, you can then decide to say, but this is not what we're going to allow for our home. Right. We're not going to be we're not going to leave our children without a mother or father. We're not going to be abusive. We're not going to speak down to our children. That's where that communication comes into place. And that's why it's important to be vulnerable up front. But instead, we don't. We just want to put on this picture perfect life so that we feel like we will be accepted. But I need you to accept me for all the bad things that have happened, because those bad things are what made me who I am today.
Right.
Me wanting to be independent, me wanting to know that I don't have to accept, physical abuse, me knowing that I have a passion as a social worker and being the voice for other people, that came because of that abuse. That's what and I chose to do it in a positive way instead of feeling sorry for myself. But just like you said, not being educated, people saying, well, they're going to be a drug dealer because their dad and their uncle or their grandfather, is a line of family members that, this is how they made them. That doesn't mean that that's who you have to be today. Educate yourself on how you can do better.
I agree 1,000% on what you're saying. I really do. I know, Angela, I know you mentioned you got books and everything. How can we support you? What can we purchase your books at? Go ahead and plug it in, because this is about you. We have a great conversation, Angela, but tonight's about you. You're kicking off the new Face of Dallas series. So plug in your book, your social media sites. How can they get involved? How can they plug in? How can they book you for events and stuff like that?
So I'm easy. What you see for that title on my name there, author Angela Wynette, is where you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. My website is www.angelawynette.com. So it's very simple. My website will have on there where you can purchase my books. This is the first one, Hurt, Healed, Happy, where you can purchase it. The second, over here, my pain versus my purpose, Hurt, Healed, Happy. And then we have the third, which is a 365-day journal, the I Am Enough journal, the affirmation journal. And so all of that is on my website. I also have a t-shirt line on there. So it keeps up with my events for where I'm speaking at, where I'm going to be doing book releases, book signings, and all of that on my website. And it'll also be on my social media pages as well. I have a YouTube channel called Let's Talk with Author Ange, where I do affirmations and just, self-motivation, little inserts or whatever, where I just randomly just come and just give some words of advice and some words of encouragement, because sometimes we just need that. We just need that positive influence. So you can find my information on my website again, www.angelawynette.com. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, author Angela Wynette. And message me. My number is on there. You can call me if you want me for events. You can call me. Like I said, I do travel. I go to state to state. So I am mobile. So if you need me for any type of conference, men, women, youth, whatever, I do it all. So just feel free to reach out. I do respond. I am a flight attendant as well. I work full time for that. So I'm constantly on the go. So I have a lot of jobs, but I am approachable though. So you can reach me for whatever you need.
And I'm gonna ask you this one too. I'm gonna have to. So you're single, right? Are you single? Relationship, or what is? Are you single?
Relationship.
Okay, that's a good thing. I would ask that. Do guys will find you intimidating? Because we talk about this all the time. Some guys would look at a woman as being intimidating because she educated, she doing something in her life, and they seem like that's a threat. And I know you mentioned your relationship. How did the person you with, how did they handle that? Were they cool with that? Which it should be. You shouldn't be intimidated. But I know women, they say because of their career, whatever, that some guys don't. They just feel intimidated. That's weird to me. It's really goofy.
So if I'm honest, you have to be honest with me. You have to be upfront. And that was one thing it was important to me to be friends first and then have a relationship. And so I was with somebody that, we were mutual friends, and then it built into something else. So he already had a glimpse and a knowledge about who I was, what I was about. And so when we got into the relationship, it just became more close proximity to see, okay, I said I wanted somebody that was put together, but this woman is really put together, So it had its moments where it was like, okay, woo, but we were able to, talk, work through that, and him understand that no matter how busy I get, no matter how popular, in demand, whatever, that does not take away from his role as the head, as the man, as the, provider, as the person that I lean on, the person that I go to, the person that, I get counsel from. He's always going to be in that position. And I always, no matter where I go, let it be known, because he's right there. He supports me 100%. So if I'm traveling, he's on the road with me. If I'm in town doing something, he's right there. So it just, it takes a lot about being honest and being upfront to just know who you're dealing with, what you're getting. And then when you do find those moments of comfort, and or discomfort, have a conversation. Like, that's right, communication. And that's something we're very
Yes.
big on, is communication. So that if you feel like, your ego is being tested, or if you feel like, I'm, in a place to where you feel like you're being put in the shadow, okay, then what do I need to do? Do I need to help you out with that? Do I need to help you? So it's just about being able to support each other and being honest about it, your feelings in those moments, and being able to help that. So it is possible, women. It is hard being successful. I'm not going to lie
Yeah,
about that.
yeah, yeah.
But it's very hard. But again, having the right person and being able to communicate through those times is very helpful.
Absolutely, I agree. And I want to say real quick to Michelle Little, you didn't miss the whole conversation. That's the beauty of this podcast. You can always go back and watch it, on
Right.
YouTube. And you can also log in to the podcast on Apple or Google. Definitely go back in, listen, and you didn't miss anything, okay? You might have missed chiming in throughout it, but you definitely did not miss the podcast. But we do appreciate you logging in and catching us at this very end. So, and do your thing, girl. Handle your business. You got to work. But thank you so much for that little comment that you just made.
Also, big shout out to Michelle Little as well. She's one of another supporters of the podcast as well. She shares and everything else. So big shout out to her also. She's a Dallas native as well herself also. So big shout out to her. Like I said, we got to get off the air. We got 1 more minute left here on the show. So, Angela, you have any final remarks you want to leave here with the viewing audience that's going to listen right now, also in the near future, and on all social media platforms?
My final remarks would be to don't be the dream killer in your life. Take the time to invest in you to get out of life what you want. No one's going to put into you more than what you put into yourself. So you are able to do whatever you want to do. You have the tools to succeed. Just don't be afraid to utilize them. If that's reaching out to somebody for assistance, do that. Humble yourself to be able to do that. If you need to go to counseling, do that. If you need assistance financially, look up those programs. If you need assistance to help get out of a bad situation, utilize those resources. But whatever you do, utilize the tools and the necessary people in your life to be able to achieve what you need. And yes, I am an author, Michelle. So reach out to me, hit me up. I would love to chat with you. I do help people write books and get started and give them the foundation. So again, guys, if you need any assistance, I'm here. Reach out to me, hit me up. I am more than welcome and happy to help and succeed any way you can. That's what I'm here for.
See, and I love that Michelle said that. Michelle, that's why I said I live vicariously through these authors that we have on the podcast, okay? And really, the truth is, like, I'm only holding myself back, right? Like, I keep saying I want to do it, but it's never going to get done if I don't actually do it. So, I need to quit procrastinating, get that ball rolling, and stop, worrying about the what ifs that might happen. And I definitely appreciate you being on the show. I love that, we were here to be able to, support somebody local. And, anytime there's anything that we can do for you, obviously, you know how to reach out to Furman. And you can also find me by even just clicking at his Facebook stuff. He tags me in a lot of things, and I share a lot of things for him. But, I'm also with the City of Dallas Veterans Treatment Court. So definitely, if you know any veterans that have Class C misdemeanor citations, definitely, refer them over to me. Also, administrative director for marriage management, which is also for veteran partners to get the right tools that they need for that toolbox on a healthy relationship. Board member for 100 Men Enterprise. We were on the show. That's how I originally, met Furman, was whenever we came onto the podcast. So you can find me at 100men.net, and that's 100men.net, or Heroes Rise Alliance, Coffee and Community Podcast, New Life Opportunities. I mean, I'm definitely a busy person. I didn't make that up when I said that. But it's what I love to do. And so, but if there's a way at all that I can support you, please definitely let me know, and I'd be happy to do that. And so, and Michelle says exactly, I have so much to put into a book, but it's about helping other people through the book pages. Definitely, I think Michelle, you should definitely connect with her. I think she is, she's definitely, obviously told us tonight, she's kind of done that same thing. through her books that she's wrote. If you missed it, she's got 3 books out. 3 that I will have to add to the collection unless she'll put it on podcast for me. Maybe can you read me the book? Can you read me like a few chapters at a time and just send that to me so that I can listen to it on my drives to work and stuff? That'd be great.
They're coming out on Audible, so you can be able to play it in the car.
There
so
you
you'll
go.
be able to
There you go. See,
Oh, wow.
a woman after my own heart right there. Well, we definitely appreciate you being on the show. We appreciate anybody that listened in. And guys, tune in all month long. Monday, Tuesday, and Saturdays. You will find us here on the podcast, all with new faces of Dallas. And we are so excited. Or should I say Dallas, Fort Worth, And so we are excited to have everybody on. Let's network, connect. Let's see how we can support each other and build each other up. That's what it's about.
And congratulations
most definitely.
again on your nomination. I'm so excited for you. It's well deserved.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you, Angela, as well. I mean, this is without Desiree, Shay, Ursula, Daquan. It's like they took a chance on this boy from Mobile, Alabama. They believe in what I was doing, and they gravitated towards it. And I'm grateful for them because they keep me going as well. And also Michelle too. Big shout out to Michelle for believing in this boy from Mobile, Alabama. And my parents and my family, friends. I've been doing this since 2009, and I know how it is. People ask me all the time, "How you do it? What's your secret?" Just stay consistent and find something that you love to do. But like I said, I love Desiree, and I love Shay and Ursula and DeQuan, and I want to see them grow. I want to see them excel and do great. And all of that, Desiree has a podcast too as well. The two madams with her and her friend, and so of course. You need to talk about that too, because you got quiet on me with that. Talk about that. Yeah, yes, ma'am. You, ma'am.
No,
you,
I
ma'am.
just didn't add it on there because, of course, we still haven't launched it yet. Michelle's been so crazy busy. And she also has a little one where my boys are, grown and on their own. So we haven't had a chance to actually launch the podcast. It's going to be all real talk. Let's just be honest, okay? It's going to be unfiltered. It's going to be girl chat. It's going to be talking about the nitty gritty. And, we just want it to be something. We even was telling Furman that, we might even choose to do it in those late night hours for those of us that can't sleep when you're, tossing and turning in your thoughts and you just kind of need somebody to chat it up with. But yes, we will be doing that podcast together. And, beginning stages, obviously, I mean, I've got a lot on my plate, but I'm not going to let it slow me down from continually growing. Right. So, and plus, Furman, let's be honest, I'm on here 3 nights a week too, or 3 days a week. I'm trying to also, I love it. I love the networking. I love meeting all the new faces. I love the way, one of our past guests that we had on, came and did did photos of an event that I had to host or that I attended.
Oh, yeah. Talk about that.
So,
elaborate on it. You know what?
Yeah.
I'm going to call you out. I'm going to call you every time you do something and you don't say that. I'm going to call you out every time. Talk about it.
I need you to go back to Wednesday night's podcast when that was in the very beginning that I gave him some huge shout outs. So we had the Cut Up crew on. Frederick was one of the guests on there. They also did this amazing content mixer, on the 22nd. And so immediately, I was told, hey, listen, I need Desiree, can you help find somebody to do photos? And I thought, listen, I was just on a podcast with somebody who I just felt some great vibes and energy from, which we've had multiple on here. I don't want anybody thinking one was better than the other. But I messaged Frederick, and sure enough, he showed up, to a charity golf tournament in Rowlett, and was just amazing. And it was here's the greatest part that I love, right? It was not his normal shoots that he would do. And so it was something completely different. And so I thought it was an amazing thing. Not only was he helping me, but secretively, it also helped him because it just added more to his portfolio of what he was capable of doing. And so I think that's the greatest thing about this podcast when we are connected and working together. I had a conversation with, LaTanya, Whitehead, that was another author that had come out with the book, I Got Issues. And so we talked earlier today on the phone, and she's going to be coming to Dallas. I'm, was honored the fact that she said she wanted me to be present. She wants to do another book launch thing here in Dallas area. And so for somebody who's so passionate about wanting to write a book, and then to know that she invited me to be a guest at that day, this is what it's about right here, okay?
Most definitely. Most definitely.
And that's why I think this month is so important. It's all faces of people that are here locally, to where we can all be supportive of each other and getting to, I don't know when I would have ever, unless you're a veteran, you would have come into my court, or attended one of my other veteran organizations. I may never met you. So I'm honored. I'm tickled to death.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. You are very well established, and I love that.
Michelle, I will make. Thank you, look at Michelle. I'm going to make sure that you definitely get that invite to attend that first late night, podcast with us, so that way, if you're tossing and turning, girl, you will get to be on that podcast and toss and turn it with us.
Oh yeah, because I know it's going to be spicy. I think I know this. We're gonna be talking. We're gonna have a sexologist here on the podcast, Twala Good, here in Dallas, Fort Worth. She's a sexologist coach. She helps married couples and stuff like that. So we're gonna be talking about. She's gonna be breaking down the elements of sex. So this is for the mature audience, for those that they want to engage and learn. That's gonna be this month. She's here in Dallas as well, so that's gonna be some spicy stuff. But it's for mature audience. It's something you really want to learn to grow. Sex is beautiful. God created sex for couples, whatever. But to learn the meaning of what sex is all about. She gonna break it down. She gonna break down from the health reasons. All that stuff plays a role when it comes to intimacy. So this kind of stuff plays a role, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to talk about a lot of stuff. Of course, this. We talk about a lot of stuff on here on the show anyway. But we really want the stuff we talk about here on the show, ladies and gentlemen. We want it to benefit you. We want you to gain information from it, gain knowledge from it. But also you can take the great information, and we have Angela as a guest here tonight. What she said, that you can listen to it again and take what she said and apply it to your life and let your life change forever. So it's all about positive vibe, all love, all support, all connects. And Desiree's good at that with connecting people that's been on the show with other people that have been on the show. And that's what she loves doing. I appreciate her for that.
I thrive on it. I thrive on it.
and I love that. People person. I love it. It's all about helping others. And that once we get to that place, we can change a lot in this community where it's this eye for an eye instead of each on its own, So yeah.
Right. That's
or
it.
feeling like everybody is your enemy, or feeling like you got to be threatened by everybody. If we could just kind of, learn to come together, find where each other's strengths are, and help build on that, where you might be great at something, I may not be, but where I'm great at something, you may not be. Like, this is what it's about. It's not about tearing each other down. It's not about being envious of another person. We're here to have good conversation, but also to support what you're doing. And I love it. And you already know that I'm going to be looking for you on social media so that I can be following all of your adventures. And so I'll be your book groupie. I'll come to the events.
I love it. I'll be there. And look, and I'll make sure you'll be the first one to get the link when it goes out on Audible. So.
I need it. Okay.
But I thought about that. That's why it's a series, and you see how little they are. They're very thin because I know people's attention spans, and that's why it's a 3-book series. The 3rd book is dropping this summer. But I did them short on purpose because, number one, I didn't want to overwhelm people. But then number 2, I wanted to give you something to keep you interested, to keep coming back. But at the same time, not give you too much to where you're overloaded and then you don't know how to process it and what to do with it. So,
like when I was actually talking to my son and his girlfriend earlier about how I want to write, I said I even mentioned on the podcast one day, I was like, it's going to be like a trilogy, or like what's after that, like a whole series. Like I said, if I was to break it down into all the things, and each chapter, each season of my life, I said, I promise you, somebody's going to be saying, I've got to get the next one because I got to know what the hell did happen to her. It's like, did she grow from this? Did she fall on her face? What was? And they said, Lord have mercy. They said, you're going to have a lot of writing to do. And I said, this is where I just need to find somebody who I can tell my story to. They can put it in better words.
Right.
Because if I do it, I also need somebody to put on there also, like above PG-13 if you're reading this book, okay? Like for mature audiences, because you're going to have you're going to have some bad words going in that book.
Right.
yeah, but like I said, we about to get off the air, ladies and gentlemen. Remember the graveyard. Everybody had one thing in common. They thought they were going to see tomorrow, and they didn't. Let's live life like it's our last. Don't put off tomorrow what you can do today. Remember that. Every time that God open up our eyes, it's another day to get it right. It's another day, not just to get it right, but to make things happen. Life is not going to happen. You have to get up and make life happen for you. Nobody's not going to do it for you. So what was said tonight, take what was said tonight and take it seriously, ladies and gentlemen. That's what's going to make you successful. That's going to make you excel. And get your life together. It's only what? We only got 24 hours within the day. You can't spend the rest of your day just sleeping. You can't spend the rest of your day just not doing anything. Then you get mad when you see other people being successful and putting in work. It's up to you. The ball's in your court, ladies and gentlemen. I got to tell myself that. I know Desiree got to tell herself that. Anne got to tell herself that. It's you versus you. There's no other way around it. It ain't nobody. It ain't the white man. It ain't the black man. It ain't the green man. All this other stuff. It ain't about where I came from and who my. Nah, it's on you. Just because you had a bad relationship or your parents had a bad relationship, don't mean you have to repeat what your parents did.
That's right.
Yeah.
Change the narrative. Change the narrative. But we feel ready to go. Y'all have a great night.
I'll see everybody tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night. We back here tomorrow night here on Walking This Way Impact Work Podcast. We're still doing the new faces of Dallas. Big shout out to Miss Woods. She's with New Focus. Matter of fact, we're gonna have a young lady out of Louisiana. Even though Miss Woods lives here in Dallas, she supported a young lady back at her home in Louisiana, and the girl won a scholarship. She just, I think, graduated high school. And we're going to be interviewing her tomorrow night. That's right here on the podcast tomorrow night. So tomorrow's episode is called Hall of Fame. So we really wanted to celebrate with our young people. We really want to applaud them. We really want to encourage them. And we want to hear their story and what their future holds and where they want to go at in life. Let's keep on the right track. I work in the system. The jails are filling up. The prisons are filling up. If you look on TV, children, gun violence. You see it on y'all, and we got to break that too, ladies and gentlemen. That's prevent our kids from going to prison. That's prevent our boys from going to prison. Right. That's prevent our girls being abused and have to raise a child up by herself. We can prevent all that, but it take all of us to make this stuff change, right? It take all of us. So that's tomorrow night. Tomorrow's episode is called Hall of Fame. But we're still doing the new Face of Dallas series for the month of May. So that's gonna be going on. Well, Desiree, you have anything you want to give? And matter of fact, and y'all give it for Desiree. She always talk about her age and stuff, but she looks very good for her age. She's not that old. She's a very beautiful woman. I tell her that all the time. Do you have anything you wanna share?
He's nice because again, I came on here with no makeup. Okay, I promise. Guys, bear with me, okay? I promise you will get me back to my normal self of looking presentable and professional. But at the end of the day, what do I say, Furman? What I look like does not change what I speak about, okay? I'm still going to speak the truth. I'm still going to be the same person who I am on the inside, even if it looks like this on the outside.
There she go with that.
With my whole, I'm going to be, Furman counted down his birthday for the whole month of April. Mine's in July. I'm thinking we should just go ahead and start counting it down now. Because I'm gonna be 44. Let's just celebrate it up. And we'll start now just to prepare me. I need that preparation.
Still young. That's still young. Come on.
And Desiree, if you don't remember nothing else, remember my hook line from last year. I am enough, baby. You are more than enough.
You're more than enough.
Look, there is more than enough here. I tell you, people be like, "Oh, she's so extra." I'm like, because I don't live inside the box. If I was not extra, I would be just like anybody else out there, right? This extra is because, do you want like clean or do you want extra clean? Do you want regular fresh bread? Or do you want some extra fresh bread? Like extra, there's nothing wrong. That should not be a negative, right? Saying somebody's extra is not negative. This is me. And I'm always there to help support other people. I just need to learn to also make sure that I'm doing what is best for Desiree too.
Man, that's it. And also, Angela, Michelle says she just added let's see. She said she just added you on Facebook as well.
Okay.
I just got that on my phone, so she did just add you on Facebook. So
Michelle, you're not still. Look at Michelle. You're not stealing my first audio invite. Okay, I'm just telling you. I requested that specially. So Michelle, if you're still tuning in, that invitation goes to me. But I'll make sure my invitation for the late night podcast goes to you. We're gonna fight, Michelle. And I just want to say thank you to everybody that shares the podcast. I love seeing when people are sharing it. I love people sharing when we're gonna have somebody new come on the show. It starts in that beginning stage, but we also like that follow through. So thank you to everybody that's sharing our guests that we have on the show. I love it.
Oh yeah, matter of fact, like I said, follow us on all social media platforms: TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, you name it. We on there. You can also check out clips on TikTok. It'll be clips of this show on there too. So you can check out the clips of this show.
You want to put money on this, Angela? He's gonna have one where I'm going. Never fails. Never fails. No lie. I'm not even kidding. It'll be like.
It'll be
He always wants to put like the most ridiculous face of me on there. It never fails. And then what's funny is his mom was on. His mom had tuned in and was, like messaging in the comments. And I was like, and she was like, I'm supporting the girls. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm screenshotting this. I took 2 screenshots. The first one I took, I was going, and then I thought, see.
I don't do it intentionally.
I'm capturing you though, capturing who you are.
Yes, because what I'll be doing is I'll begin with the guests be saying. I'll begin their talking points. So I don't know why your face get like that when I do that. I don't know why. I don't do it intentionally, but I'll be just getting the speaker point from the audience. So when the people on TikTok,
he does it intentionally. I promise you. And then I try so hard. Like, I'm a very expressional person. I talk with my hands. You'll see anything and everything I'm feeling on my face, right? I'm like, my eyes are like,
yeah.
So I know why it happens, but I'm like, why do you have to put that clip on there? I mean, like, one day I'm just gonna sit here and be like, yeah. So that way, whatever podcast clip he takes, that whole time I'm gonna have makeup on. I'm gonna be looking all. No, I mean, honestly, guys, guess what? You're going to get those same kind of faces if you talk to me in person. So you might as well go ahead and knock it. I'm going to let you know in the beginning. Watch the podcast. You'll see the crazy faces I make. So that way you're prepared when you talk to me in person.
Right.
Man, that's it. And you know what? We're finna ready to go, man. Y'all enjoy life, man. Live life to the fullest. Be fun. Be happy. Enjoy yourself. Get some stuff done. Relax. Hey, do yourself a favor tonight. Look yourself in the mirror. Take your favorite drink. Toast yourself. Tell yourself I love you. Tell yourself I got your back. Tell yourself we're going to see. Tell yourself we're going to conquer. Tell yourself we're going to make it. Most of all, tell yourself I got your back. That's it. We'll be back.
And you are enough.
And you are enough. Me, Desiree, Daquan will be here tomorrow night here on Walking This Way Impact Force Podcast. Have a great night, everybody. Peace.